the beat.
Go to school to get your information. To the school to be part of our discussion. School television. School radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moreover, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat keep on grudging my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you about today?
School TV.
Yes, what you about today?
School TV. School TV. School entertainment.
Go to there. Go to there.
To the school to get your information. To the school.
Yes, I. A special one from the CEO standing with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
To the school to get your information. To the school to be part of.
Okay, folks, welcome. It has been a wet day in Liberia. It's been raining. Today is Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. You welcome to Liberia's biggest talk show. This is the premier talk show in Liberia across the Spoon Network. We're live on Spoon 107.5 FM, Super 95.5 FM, as well as Fabric 101.1 FM. I need not tell you, this is Spoon Talk. So once you hear Liberia's biggest talk show, you already know the name. It's Spoon Talk, and this is how I love to welcome you. My name is Diamond Slanga. I'm producing tonight. Let me now join Dr. Richardson. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you doing?
Diamond, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm okay. God money me. Yeah.
That's good. Let God be God, right?
Yeah.
So, how's Monrovia? It's raining today, I hear you say?
Yeah, it's been raining. Heavy downpour some hours of the day. Now the rain has subsided. Most parts as well. Yeah,
it's a little cloudy today. Not as sunny as I like it on this front. I didn't go outside I didn't sit outside today, but because I thought it was cold outside. But some people like it like that, I guess. I like hot weather. So, yeah. So what's going on?
Dr. Richardson, is it potency on the T-shirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Potent Dr. Richardson.
Time when you full of plenty.
No, but the shirt has got a message on it. You wore a pink shirt, you're rocking a pink shirt, and then the inscription is in, is it lipstick red or blood red? Potency.
That's it.
Anyway,
Potency.
I leave it at that.
Yeah, leave
Nice
it at
t-shirt,
that.
by the way.
Yeah, leave it.
Hmm.
Actually,
Okay. Oh.
I have a machine at home that I do in my leisure time that make t-shirts, and my youngest daughter is graduating from high school, and tomorrow is the last day of school, so they have to make a t-shirt representing their years through high school, and all of them
Okay.
wearing a black shirt. So we're in the process of doing it, and she was like, "Mommy, I can make one for you," and she came up with this word, and so this is what I'm wearing today.
Okay. She did
Yeah,
a good job. The
yeah,
t-shirt is
she did.
nice,
She did actually.
and the
She
color,
even the kids
and
these
the color code is also good. Yeah.
yeah, but the
Pink on
kids
red.
these days are very sophisticated. I mean, I have the machine, but she knew like what she was doing with the computer, with the letters, with the words. So I never ever try. I just do one thing, So she was getting fancy and stuff like that. So I was like, wow, these kids these days are far ahead of everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I like it. I like the word.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Potency.
So what's going on? What's going on in the country?
Well, a lot going on in the country, Dr. Richardson. Um, Top amongst what's happening is what happened today at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police.
I know I
But I
heard
will
your
get
voice
to
there
that.
today. I saw you there today,
Yeah,
right?
I spent my entire day there. So I wouldn't be giving you a lot of updates surrounding other things happening around the country because I haven't been able to stick my nose in those other affairs.
It's all
All
right.
my focus was at Central today. But I'll give you another information from Bong County and one from Bapolu. In Bong County, we've received reports that two separate accidents, two tragic accidents, occurred along the highway, the Monrovia Banga Highway. According to our correspondent in our county, Kongwe Bokokolu, it happened around the Wala area in Swakoko district. So what happened, according to the report from Bong County, is this broken down truck
Wow.
was just left in the middle of the road. Since Sunday, the first incident happened on Sunday, where, according to the Bong County LMP detachment head, one Fasu V Sheriff, on Sunday, an 18-seater bus ran into the packed truck, killing two persons instantly.
Wow.
As if that wasn't enough, the truck wasn't removed from the spot, and on Tuesday morning, this morning around 1 a.m., another vehicle ran into the truck again, leaving two persons dead. So how
Amen.
come the vehicle that caused one accident on Sunday was left at the same spot, and another vehicle ran into it, collided with it, leaving two persons dead again? So four persons in two separate accidents caused by one broken down vehicle. A 10-tire truck was left on the road around the Swakoko belt there in Bong County, the Monrovia Banga Highway. Again, road safety, public safety comes into question again. How are we making sure that broken down vehicles, there are enough signals? What we see in Liberia is people put the grass few meters away from a broken down vehicle, especially along the highway. But in our conversation on the morning show of the chief of public safety, he said even that is not recognized. But in our colloquial driving, we
Y'all got
understand
full of driving.
exactly. Yeah, now. Our informal way, we get different way of doing things on the road that are
That's
not.
why I'm stretching my eyes. I was just like, woo.
Yeah, we got colloquial way of driving. Like, once I see grass in the middle of the road leading towards a vehicle, I will know that a vehicle ahead of me has broken down. It's not recognized. You should put hazard triangle. You should leave your emergency blinkers on so that oncoming vehicles can know that this car is broken down. They can see you from a far distance and be able to recognize. But in our colloquial driving, we use the grass. So put the grass on the road ahead of the vehicle so that you know that there's a broken down vehicle that you approach it. But that particular truck caused 2 separate accidents. So road safety, tow trucks for the various counties, these are things we should be looking into. The way we have police depot around the countries, if we can have people who will have tow truck companies, because when your car is broken down, it poses a hazard to other road users, like we saw in this case. Another prominent example is the Adolph Lawrence case. May his soul rest in peace. There have been other examples, but Adolph Lawrence, the late, is another example of broken down truck or vehicle left on the road without no indicators, no hazard triangles, nothing for that sort to let you know that there is a broken down vehicle on the road. So that again brought our attention to Bunk County. In Bapolu County, it was reported that a
Let me ask you something.
27-year-old mother
Diamond, let me ask you a
was.
question about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Richardson.
So
Internet is bad, so I'll
okay,
listen keenly to hear you.
at night, if you can't see the grass, then what happened? You just
You
gonna
see the grass.
how you see the
You
grass?
you see the grass unless you sleeping or something of that sort. But once your headlight is on, you definitely see the grass. But it's not accepted though, according to our road regulations, our traffic regulations, and our driving regulations in Liberia. Grass is not accepted. Either hazard triangle. If you don't have that, you should have cones. The caution cones. You should have that. If you don't
Sometimes
have
at
the
night I
cones,
don't see potholes, so I don't know how I would be able to see grass. Yeah.
yeah. But the grass is what we use, as I said. And people wondering why I say colloquial driving, because it's our informal way
Yeah.
of doing things on the road. Yeah.
And then I had another question. I'm thinking lawsuit because that's what would have happened here if two trucks got people got killed in two different car incidents. Like who's responsible? Who's responsible for removing broken down vehicle from the road? I mean, that's like wrongful death lawsuit popping in my head.
Yeah, so the Liberia National Police Public Safety Division is a vast division. They're responsible for highway patrol. They're responsible for the traffic division of the Liberia National Police. They're responsible for public safety in all aspects. So if a vehicle is broken down and you don't have and that vehicle poses a threat, what I learned from the chief of public safety is every broken down vehicle is reported. It should be reported. And if you cannot call a tow truck like the way you people have, what's that famous tow company you have in America that every small thing you say triple nine or triple what? There's a
Triple A. I mean triple A.
Triple A. Good.
Yeah.
Yes. We do not have a triple A in Liberia. The police should also have tow vehicles, tow trucks. That if a vehicle is going to cause serious hazard, if something that can be worked on and vehicle can be worked on in a shortest possible time to get it off the road, or it can be towed to another place to be repaired, that can be done. But you cannot leave a broken down. Sometimes you see vehicles are left on the road, especially our highways. Vehicles will be left there for days and weeks.
I've seen that.
Days and weeks. Yeah. So in that instance, the police should get that vehicle away, go and impound it. The owner can come and get it. You pass through all the formalities and get your vehicle out. Because if it's there, it's causing a serious hazard to people. If you cannot get it from the road to another safe distance that it wouldn't bother and pose an impediment to somebody, a danger like we saw in this case, like we've heard in this case, then that's what we're talking about, Dr. Richardson. But you're talking about lawsuit, so you can sue the owner of that vehicle for wrongful death, because it was their object that caused that to have happened. But most of the time, these things they just go like that. Yeah, we don't have so much wrongful death claims in Liberia and all of that, Dr. Richardson.
Wow. Thank you. I'm just sad. I'm saddened by the fact that people died because of
Poor persons.
Yeah.
And in Bapolu again, in Bapolu, just to conclude, a 27-year-old mother was left for dead while she was trying to give birth, according to our Bapolu County correspondent. Some traditional midwives were trying to aid her and deliver her, and something went wrong. They left her there, and she was found in a tub. As of when we last spoke, those who were reported to have been involved in the delivery, they are all on the run, you know.
Mm.
So some complications, something happened along the way. Only they know what happened, but she was found dead in the tub, and in an attempt to
Amen.
give birth, being aided by some traditional midwives in the process. Yeah.
Amen.
So
I'm sad. That's a sad story.
yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So the biggest news in the country today, 10ish a.m. this morning, the former Chief Justice, former Senator of Maryland County, and one-time Justice Minister, Councilor Gloria Musu Scott, and three others. I'm about to name the three others
Mm-hmm.
were formally charged and arrested today on three charges. So let me get the names of the three, including the former Chief Justice, who were invited. So they were invited to the headquarters of the Liberia National Police
Mm-hmm.
on the 19th. They were supposed to have appeared on the 19th. But according to her legal team, in a letter that is sent to the Liberia National Police through the office of the Commissioner of Police for Crime Services Department,
Mm-hmm.
the Criminal Investigation Department, Interpol One, Honorable Emmanuel Do Jilikan, 106 is his code. So they said she was unwell and couldn't have made the appearance and promised today to avail themselves. So those three that were invited by the Liberia National Police include the former Chief Justice, Councilor Gloria Musu Scott, one old lady, Rebecca Ude Wisner, one Gertrude Newton, and one Alice Johnson. So the four were invited, and they turned themselves over today with their legal team. The former Chief Justice was wearing purple, a purple-like dress with black scarf around her neck. Another person listed was wearing purple and white lapa and all of that. And when they entered, up to when I left around 6 p.m. this evening, they had not returned. So according to what we gathered, the four of them were charged with the crime of murder, which is a felony under our jurisprudence, murder in the first degree, criminal conspiracy, and making false statements to law enforcement officers. So, according to Title 26 of the Liberia Code of Laws Revised, on our penal law, let me tell you what murder is according to the Liberian Code of Laws Revised. So, according to the penal code, the penal law, murder. I'll just give you a brief overview of what murder is. So murder, that is 14.1. 14.1. Murder is purposely or knowingly. If a person purposely or knowingly causes the death of another human being, or B, causes the death of another human being under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, a
Mm-hmm.
rebuttable presumption that such indifference exists or arises if the defendant is engaged or is an accomplice in the commission of or an attempt to commit or flight after committing or attempting to commit treason, offenses defined in sections 11.2 or 11.3 of this title: espionage, sabotage, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, felonious restraint,
Mm-hmm.
arson, rape, aggravated, involuntary sodomy, escape, piracy, and a lot. So that is murder, and murder is a felony of the first degree in Liberia. But a person convicted of murder may be sentenced to death or life imprisonment as provided in sections 50.5 or 51.3. So, under our law again, Title 26, this is what criminal conspiracy is. So, we do criminal conspiracy, then we go to false statements. So, criminal conspiracy 10.4. 1. Offense. A person is guilty of conspiracy to commit a crime if, with the purpose of promoting or facilitating its commission, he agrees with one or more persons to engage in or cause the performance of conduct which constitutes the crime, and any one or more of such persons does an act to effect the object of the conspiracy. So it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 sub counts under this. And then false statement, according to Title 26, says false swearing in official proceedings. A person has committed a first degree misdemeanor if in an official proceeding he makes a false statement, whether or not material, under oath, or equivalent affirmation, or swears or affirms the truth of such a statement previously made, if he does not believe the statement to be true. So, what the police have said, and that Councillor Musu Scott and 3 others who were named conspired criminally, and then they murdered Chalo Musu, according to the police in their findings and their charges, and they then released and gave false statements. So there has been a twist as well. The CEO and the rest of the guys will talk about what was filed today by her legal team. They will talk about all of that. But as of when I left the headquarters of the Liberian National Police, she and those who entered, I mean, those 3 other persons, including herself, had not exited the building. So they've been charged. And tomorrow, the government have said, they've announced that tomorrow they're going to host a big press conference at 11 a.m. What we're getting from some sources within the government is they want to present the arrested 4, and they are going to now come up with the indictment and do it as a public spectacle. That is what we're hearing. But again, we'll see what happens tomorrow. As I said, there has been a petition filed, a writ was issued. The former CEO and the rest of the guys will talk about that. So those are major news, but that tops the entire pile. We all remember that on the 22nd of February, 2023, around 9:30 p.m., according to the former Chief Justice, her home was attacked. And, her home was attacked. And Chalo was killed in the process, according to her. An intruder, an invader, invaded their home, but she was able to have doused that person's, face with pepper spray, and she managed to have escaped and all of that. So this case has just begun, Dr. Richardson. It has just begun. We'll see a lot of argument. We'll see a lot of evidences presented. We'll see a lot of, witnesses, whether there will be expert witnesses. We'll see a lot because they according to our son, Noah Scott, they are not going to go down, without fighting. They are going to fight this to the letter. Mm-hmm. So we're watching this. This is just the commencement stage of all of this.
Wow. It's sad all over. It is really sad all over the place. But yeah, we are. We're going to talk about it more. But Diamond, I want to thank you so much for your brilliant presentation. You always, bring in the news and highlight the important things for Liberians. And people really like when you give your presentation. So thank you for your hard work. Daniel Sano, I see that you're here. Thank you for coming today and welcome to Spoon Talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we wait for our other panelists to join us, let's see. I don't know if you want to help me, Daniel, by just welcoming some people here. You can start with the first 6 or 7 names. Can you see them?
Hold on 1 minute. Let me just go there. 1 minute. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so we'll have Franklin Fabla, watching from Australia, Victoria. Okay,
it goes so fast, so just try skipping whatever. It goes by so fast, so just do the best. Call whoever name hits your eye.
Okay, Peter Yena, Madrina Okal, Bill Garson, Washington Dawson, Valerie Kendi, Augustine Julie Nimpan, Cole Gloria Vico Moba, Stardita Franklin Yaba, Justino Jojo H. Bestman, Nayo Brown, watching from the USA, Terry Swati Genesee, Bedino King Jabba, Doris Bengu, GT Carvin Quo, Theophilus Williams, Washington,
Ade Captain, Fanny Dennis, Mohammed
Mhm.
Kewu, James K. Cole, Kenyanta Wia. So these are just few of our followers that are following the show already from across the
Yes,
world.
yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Want to welcome all of you guys who are following us. It's so important that we welcome you to the show. If you have not done so already, please share the show. I'm going to ask Mr. Jerry. Mr. Jerry, want to join us by welcoming some our viewers?
Oh yes, I can do that. I can do
Yeah,
that. Let me
yeah.
see if my eyes are very good here. I can wear my glasses to give me more. Uh, okay. I want to welcome Patrick Soman. He said he's present Royal Azumic. Is that Azumic? It's kind of it's fast here, but Aku Joseph Kroma, Maurice Ziegler, and Melo Tukbe, Phoebe Do. I'm sorry if I pronounced Phoebe wrongly, but Emma V. Ketter, welcome here. We also got a name called Gugu. That's a very interesting name, Gugu. And Owusu Oscar Kofi. Kofi, I'm glad you. Thank you very much for coming. Oman Zizor, Joe Sifas Jr., Sam Dopo. Is that Dopo? Yeah, Dopo. Alex Aloysius Bobo, James Jacobs, Richie Kennedy, Solomon Howard, and let me do this one for Ohusu Kofi again. And thank you for coming, all of you. Bennett K. Barford, my own man there in Des Moines, Iowa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure some of the names were called, so I'm gonna just name about 5 persons and then we're gonna go to the show. Omen Zazu is here from Lower Virginia, I believe. Jared D. Ajavon is here. Philip Balat is also here today. Dwayne Myers Yamo is here from Kampala, Uganda. So thank you so much for being here. I always like to travel through you guys. I'm traveling seriously. Recent Dawn is also here. Patrick Davis is here. Let me just see. Morris, that one went by too fast. Morris Zwana is here. So today we want to welcome you again to the show. We're going to be having a lot of spirited, interactive conversations here today. It's all about Liberia. Everything that we discuss here today is to help all of us make more informed decisions. I can, I don't even want to share with you that many times when I leave the show, I'm pondering like, oh, how did this issue go? What did this issue? Or actually, if a friend would call or my husband would call and say, that's a different perspective today. Or I will say, well, I stand my ground in what I think. So basically, I'm sure you do the same thing. Join us and enjoy the show today. I'm going to start already as we wait for panelists to join. I'm sure many will be joining us. So Daniel Sanu, what's on your mind today? That's what we usually start today. What's on your mind? As Facebook would say, what's on your mind?
We come here over, yes, we come here today again for crowded, as usual, very crowded agenda because our country is not in a normal time, and so there's always a lot to talk about with limited time. So I think we have the former finance minister appearing today, right?
You're supposed to. Yes, I'm sending a text right
Yes.
now.
So part of the misinformation and disinformation that was spewed out yesterday by the current finance minister. We're going to talk about it. Last night we're talking about it on another platform, so I'm happy that he will come here to the show we can talk about it. But basically, I think at the close of the day, what became of major concern to everybody was the ongoing investigation by the LMP of the death of Little Chalo Musu and the dramatic trend which the investigation has taken. It's a matter of concern to all of us because a human life was lost, a life of a very promising young Liberian who has seen nothing was prematurely taken away by somebody somewhere unknown. Now, in a civil society, it is expected of the law enforcement agency, when a crime is committed, and when the person who commits that crime is apprehended and prosecuted and penalized, what it does is that it reassures the community that there is law and order in the country, and it also serves as deterrent for would-be perpetrators of violent crime against person. So that's why we would not want to stop at any length to encourage the authority of the Liberian National Police to investigate, but we also want to encourage them at this point to be very professional with the investigation. You know, from the onset of this whole case, and I listened to the narrative by your reporter, the LMP has made some fundamental mistakes along the line. Fundamental mistakes that have brought the case to where it is today. And no matter how they want to handle it now, maybe the public confidence is a matter of concern. Public confidence in the way the investigation is proceeding. From the beginning, a lot of professional missteps were carried out by the LMP. The manner and form in which they are proceeding right now leaves a lot of people to be concerned as to where they're heading. Because we do believe that if the LMP had reasons to believe that Councillor Scott and her family, quote unquote, orchestrated the death of Chalo Musu, what took them so long to arrest? They said now that they have the prima facie evidence to prove the case. And nobody should get me wrong. I know criminal investigations are a process, but what I'm saying is that this incident occurred in February.
Daniel, we're going to be discussing this. Daniel, we're going to be discussing this. Yes. So save some of the
okay. So
yeah.
All right. So I mean, for the initial my opening statement, the ongoing investigations are a matter of concern to me, and I hope we can have the time to go in depth, because a lot of things I want to unpack as to how the investigation has proceeded so far. So thank you.
Yes, Sam, I want to welcome the former CEO Stanton to the show. I'm going to now go over to Mr. Jiru to ask him what is on his mind as we await our guest. I just sent him a text as well to tell him we're waiting for him. Go ahead, Mr. Jiru. Oh, I'm sorry, Stanton, can you admit him? I just got a message from, the guest is ready. Okay. All right. Our guest is here, Mr. Jiru. Go ahead. Just say quickly what's on your mind.
Welcome the guest. I can wait if you want to welcome the guest, though. I should go ahead.
No, go ahead. Let's do our intro. Then we'll bring in the guest.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. What's on my mind is also has to do with what Daniel was talking about here. When I heard the former Chief Justice, the former probate court judge, was arrested and is detained, it raised a lot of antennas on me because when I'm looking at even the charges, I'm looking at the charges, and again we're going to discuss that. When I'm looking at the charges, I think it's a trap for her, because what they're doing here, they are charging murder, criminal conspiracy, and they're also charging false statement. Now, under the Liberian jurisprudence, I'm not a lawyer, but what I've understood so far, under the Liberian jurisprudence, if they charge you like that, if they charge 3 or 4 people with the same level of crimes, if you do not call for severance trial, if one person is guilty in our group, everybody is guilty in our group.
Oh, wow.
So this is why I say it's a trap. Unless the lawyers ask for a severance trial for her, then the specific charges that will be leveled against her will come out. But as it is, she is bunched with the rest of them, charged with murder, which is a first-degree felony, a call for life imprisonment or death by hanging or whatever method. And the one of criminal conspiracy is a felony. I think it's a second-degree felony. False statement is a second or third-degree felony. But when they put it together,
it's a first degree misdemeanor.
First degree misdemeanor, that was a third degree felony. So whatever. Thank you very much, Daniel. So once they put it together like that, if you don't remove yourself and that trial goes on and a guilty verdict is reached, everybody is buried with it. And I think that is where the trick is from the government of Liberia. But they better get damn good evidence to prosecute it, because they just lost $1 million drug case. I don't know how they're going to prove this one, but they want to make it as a spectacle. This trial will make or break the government of Liberia. This particular trial, this particular case will make or break the government of Liberia. If they have evidence and they convict the former Chief Justice, it's going to bring their name up. But if they lose this case, then it breaks them. That's the way I see it. But we're going to discuss it better later.
Wow. All right, Stanton.
Yeah, Dr. Richardson, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. You got to excuse me. I'm on the phone with Gloria Scott's daughter, Jo May. I'm going to bring her in. She's here in the United States. Give me a few seconds, please. We know we get our guests. You guys can be talking.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm overall sad today, basically about what is happening in Liberia. It's sad for the family, the government. There was so much noise surrounding this case, and it wasn't properly and effectively dealt with from a criminal perspective when it first happened February 22nd. So it has just prolonged, and I'm waiting to see. I'm basically I'm having some reservations to see what will happen. But it's I think my initial reaction right now is I'm just sad. It's just sad for our family. It's sad for our justice system. That it took this long for us to hear something. And I know, again, I know criminality is a process, but on the other hand, if we take so long to arrest, if we take so long to do our investigations, and we have some wrong steps, because I know initially there was also some wrong steps of the investigation, it leaves some doubts. It leaves people wondering what is going on, and that's where I am. I'm just wondering, like, what is going on in our country? What is going on? I mean, with a family that lost a dear family member, and I heard her son speak today. I believe there were two of the sons that also spoke today, and I could hear the pain in his voice, and it was so telling that he said that. The interesting thing that I took from his presentation today was that he supported CDC. He said, we don't discuss politics in our house, but our house consists of people who support different parties. And he said, I feel like I have been let down by this government. I supported them. He said, you couldn't tell him anything about CDC earlier. If you told him, anything about CDC, he was ready to, back and support CDC. So, to just see that, this family that supported the country so much, is going through this, and to see that all of the inconsistency that occurred in the investigation by the Justice Ministry, it's just not a good taste. It's just not good at all. So that's where I am. I'm in a state of discernment, contemplating stuff, and I'm sure in the next couple of days I will get my thoughts together. But it's just like wow. But I was also
before Daniel comes in, there's a new dynamic. I think you see my hair was in the chat room.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It is the rate of habeas corpus, and all of us know the rate of habeas corpus is the strongest rate in the land. It's a rate that is filed to release someone who was unjustifiably detained, and it has a 48-hour cap. According to the rate of habeas corpus law, if someone is detained beyond 48 hours, which is a constitutional provision of time within which the government can charge an individual, then you can file a writ of habeas corpus to have that person released. Well, according they just released, they just arrested them this morning. I mean, was it yesterday? This morning, right? And
Yeah.
then they filed a writ of habeas corpus. And according to the lawyer, they believe that the writ of habeas corpus lied because the threshold set by writ of habeas corpus have been met. Well, again, like we are not all lawyers. Lamy will come and Lamy will tell us whether the threshold was met. I don't think the threshold was met because the 48 hour is the latitude under the Constitution giving the government to be able to charge an individual. But if it goes beyond the 48 hours, you cannot detain anybody beyond 48 hours. So I don't know if that threshold was met. But here is the funny part. If the writ of habeas corpus was filed today and the individual was taken to the court, let's say criminal court A, and what the government usually does is they wait. If the judge grants the writ of habeas corpus and order the defendant release, by the time you get outside the courtroom, they rearrest you and go to magistrate court and charge you.
Oh wow.
That's what they usually. So the possibility of Madam Musu Scott getting released and going home to me is very slim. The other part is the third part is you can be in the criminal court while the judge is looking at the case, is looking at it, is reviewing the habeas corpus case. They can go to the magistrate court, grab a writ, and wait for you right to the door. By the time you come outside the court, they serve you the writ, arrest you, and take you back to jail. So it is a tricky thing. I'm not sure if Madam Scott is going to go home today. If she goes soon, that would be great. But this is an interesting dynamic, and we're going to discuss that in details.
Yeah, very interesting. Daniel?
Yes. So the writ I will pray for by her lawyers today is basically asking the government to produce her in court because the government here is a custodian, and Justice Scott and her family are in the custody of the government. So the lawyers are basically asking the government to take her to court so that they can give reason why they are holding on to her. Because when I listened to the police spokesperson on the afternoon conversation on OKFM, the police spokesperson basically ruled out the speculation that the government had charged these people. He denied that categorically. He said they have not been charged, but the LMP, in fact, the government of Liberia has announced a major press conference tomorrow. I don't know what is the intent of that press statement. We have to wait to see tomorrow, but we have reason to believe that a press conference that has been widely publicized by the government, centers around this identical Chalo Musu case. So the lawyer have asked, her lawyers are basically asking the government to produce her in court to give explanation as to why they are holding on to she and the others.
But I think Damo came in here and said there were charges filed, right?
I said the police, yeah, he said that, but the police spokesperson denied that, said they have not been charged. And if they have not been charged, then that's the reason why the lawyer had gone to court to pray for the writ of habeas corpus.
I get it. I get the point. I'm just looking at it for the 48-hour window, that's all. I mean, anything can happen in the court, and I'll be glad that the 48 hours does not have to lie, and she can be released and go home. I mean, it is stressful to see someone relative of yours pass away, and then they say, "Well, you killed the person, so why are you mourning the person and you have to deal with the legal wrangling?" It is something.
All right, I beg you. Let's see whether Dr. Richardson cannot come in. Thank you. Let's see whether I think Boima Kamara, the former finance minister, he's in the back. Mr. Minister, if you can, we will ask you to please come in by way of your video, then we'll bring you on. Before we do that, just bear with us while you stay there. Let me bring in Minister Fagon. It's very interesting today. Surprisingly, we received a call from Councillor Scott's daughter. Her name is Jo May Scott, the daughter of the Honorable Gloria Musu Scott. She will be appearing also. She will be speaking on this network concerning what happened today at the Liberia National Police Headquarters. And we also hearing from our reporters that there will be a very, very big press conference tomorrow at the Liberia National Police Headquarters Central in Liberia. But for tonight, we have our guest, Minister Boyman S. Kamara, former finance minister under the Madam Salif government, and we'll be having a very important show. We'll remain to the conversation. We're also going to announce today that something strange happened on the Senate floor today. Something very strange. All of the appointment from President George Manuel Weah, the names were sent for confirmation. Everything was black today. Everything was black today. The embarrassment of Abache, I have not seen it before. The embarrassment of Abache as he represents as a pro tem from CDC, he had his worst embarrassment today. They don't stood on the ground. Jeremiah Kuhn, we have the entire list, and we will be going into that conversation. They say anybody, President John Manuel, we are saying that it can be his cat, his dog, and all his girlfriend, and they will black them. Now, I don't know. I didn't say that. They say anybody, President George Manuel, we are sent there because he's a lame dog president. They will black them. So he can send his cat, he can send his dog, he can send a puppy, he can send a keke, he can send a meow meow. They will black all of them. And that's exactly what they say. It's not me. They black them today. Abache was so embarrassed, he walked off. We are going to download that video for you to see because these guys don't say, Mr. President, you on a lame dog session right now. We cannot confirm any cat dogs from you. I'm not saying those guys are cat and dogs, but I'm saying these guys that are putting their feet down. You have Senator Dillon, you have Yombly Kanga Lawrence, you have Jeremiah Kuhn, you have Senator Borchard, you have all of them, 15 of them, 15. We're going to have a wonderful show, folks. We'll be bringing in the former finance minister. The reason why I bring in Minister Kamara, Boyman Kamara, is to talk to us as to what's really happening. We thought Senator told small lies. But what we observe today, Senator told the lies that will go down in the Guinness Book of Record, that the greatest lies ever on the face of the earth. And that's why we are bringing Boyman S. Kamara, the former finance minister. Folks, let's welcome Burma. Share the show. It's going to be a big one today because it is why it is. Liberia deserves better. Let's bring in Minister Kamara. Minister Kamara, welcome to the Spoon Talk. It's good to have you. We will be on the show, moderating the show today will be Dr. Francine Chinwe Richardson and myself till I can leave. And then you will have Minister Eugene Lame Fagon. But it's good to have you, Minister Boyman S. Kamara, former finance minister. Welcome to the Spoon Talk.
Thank you, Stajan. Thanks to all of the panelists. I'm humbled to be again with you guys. At this point in time, this would be a moment what I refer to as evidence-based, somber reflection on the state of our nation. How we as a people, we've come, predating the current RIA administration, predating the Salif's administration, from 1847, a country so rich, yet so poor. Why? And I just want to greet all of the fathers in the land. We celebrated Father's Day on Sunday. And I say special greetings to all of the fathers in Liberia, especially those that are dear to me. I lost my father in 2005 while I pursued my master in Ghana. But I just want to say happy Father's Day to you, Bishop George D. Harris of the Philadelphia Church International Ministry. Happy Father's Day to Bishop Johnson. Happy Father's Day to Pastor Babalola, Apostle Nuva. All of you in the Mother's Land, Stanton, Eugene Fagon, Daniel, you are special fathers. Mr. Gibson Jeru, and Councilor Lame Pagoy. Happy Father's Day to you guys in the house. But I just want to premise to get started. The reason why I'm appearing today is a message from the Lord. I slept on last Wednesday. Early in the morning, 2 a.m., I was awakened by the Spirit of the Lord and said to me, Boyma, too long. Your nation bleeds, and all of you are silent. What's happening? And the Spirit of the Lord took me to this quote, and that reference 2 persons. Plato, you said the penalty good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Thomas Jefferson, I quote, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. And I will end on the third. Government is not evil. It is the thoughtlessness and vices of men that make it a necessary evil. However, when all men are good and wise, evil succumbs to the Lord of non-resistance. Indeed, the time has come that we must rise up. And in the cause of our country's defense, the second stanza of our national anthem says, in union strong, success is sure. We cannot fail. With God above our rights to prove, we will overall prevail with heart and hand. Oh my goodness. Our country's cause defending. We meet the foe with valor unpretending.
Yes, sir.
Long
Yes,
live
sir.
Liberia.
Yes, sir.
Happy and glorious land. And it ends by saying, the success of the nation is by God's command. And there where I begin by saying, the Spirit of the Lord is saying to all of the pastors in the land, the imams in our nation, there is an existential threat to the very sanity, stability of our country, and it's in reference to our brethren that we are calling Zogos and Zogis. The Ministry of Gender just came up with a report estimating close to around whatever thousands of our youth are street children. But yet society have labeled them Zogos and Zogi. As you call a person, so shall he live by what you call. The name Jacob, trickster, he performed the act of trickery, the act of killing, and he stole his brother's birthright because he was called Jacob the trickster. However, Jacob said, Lord, I will cease not to leave thee until you bless me by changing my name from the trickster to Israel. May we stop calling our brethren Zogis and Zogos. And the time has come that the Church of Christ, the Muslim faith, our call is to humanity. Love your brothers as you love yourself. And this is what the scripture says in Matthew chapter 25, verse 40. And the king will answer and say to them, I assure you that I must solemnly say to you, to the extent that you did for one of these brothers of mine, even the least of them, you did it unto me. Amen. I'm calling on us that we must now have a heart of love for our fellow men. And I say to President, I approach you now as a man of God. And I say to you, the time has come that you must move out of your comfort zone and go into the highways and the byways. Go into the marketplace. Jesus Christ, 99% of his outreach was in the public space. And blind Bartimaeus was in the marketplace. The woman with the issue of blood was in the marketplace. Today we have our brothers and sisters. Let us stop calling them Zogis and Zogos. May you institute maybe an executive order banning the labeling of those brethren. And let us now begin to identify with them, pray for them, and then physically look at the physical needs. And I'll be suggesting how that can be done. This is my intro. And then we'll move on to phase 2 of why I'm here. And I will show you what the data shows as a country under President Salif, under President Weah, how much we have had in terms of resources. But yet we are a nation who have not understood the difference between the seed and the bread. For we put the seed and the bread together, and we are eating at our detriment. The time has come that we must rise.
Thank you very much.
Stanton. This is my intro.
Thank you very much, Minister Boyman Escamara. We appreciate the intro. I love the Bible stories. I love the teaching. This is who we are. I mean, wherever your faith may lead you, we are grateful that we are under the authority and we are under the blessing of the divine one, God Almighty. I do believe in the principle of Jesus Christ. I do believe the words of God because it is powerful and sharper than any two double-edged sword. So we're blessed to have these few words today. And you are right. We're going to talk about Liberia because Liberia is all we have as a country. And so we are welcome. Dr. Richardson, Honorable Eugene Lami Fagon, Daniel Sando, Gibson Jeru, and the Councillor Lami Bako. It's good to have you, Minister Kamara. I'm going to come in with my question. Dr. Richardson going to come in with her two questions. We are talking about Liberia, and the current event also permit us, we'll be talking about everything plus more. Exactly what happened today with the former Chief Justice, former Justice Minister, former Senator, former National Election Commissioner. We will be talking about Madam Gloria Scott and what was said about her today at the Liberia National Police Headquarters. Her daughter will be joining us, Jo Scott, to also talk about the issue from her family side of this whole thing. I want to say the state of the nation to you, Minister Kamara. You serve in government. What is the state of Liberia today? Financially, socially, and everything. If you can answer my first question, now we're going to begin the show. What's the state of the nation to you, Minister Kamara, today?
Thank you, Stanton. And this is how I begin my story. There is these two villages. One called the village Liberia, and the other village called the village of prosperity. In the village Liberia, they have $20. And I'm speaking this way so that my mother in the marketplace, my brother riding his pen, wherever you are at various levels, so you will easily understand what we are talking about. So in the village, yeah, go on. I'm on the air. Go on. That's the little man. The little man. The little man is saying, "Daddy, I'm seeing you talking." That's his first time. Okay, seeing him talk. Okay, say hi. Say hi, and then you can go. Hello. Say hi, nation.
Hi, Dr. Francis' son will be your friend.
Yes, that's Triumph. That's Triumph. That's the last guy. That's sorry for. Yes.
Dr. Francis' grandson can come for her too. So at least she have found somebody now who do the same thing. So, you know, she's going to be happy.
Sorry for that interruption. Let me close the door.
Yeah. Dr. Francis' son, 6 o'clock sharp, and Megan wake up from bed. And come straight on set. It's time for you to get my food.
Thank you. So that's straight to the point. Mm-hmm. So Liberia, the village Liberia has $20. Mm-hmm. The Prosperity Village has the same $20. Liberia Village, of the $20, they take $18. They say we'll buy clothes, we'll buy a car, I will go to watch show, and I will travel. You consume $18 of your $20. You are left with only $2. And that $2, you fighting how you will take care of your healthcare need, your educational need, your agriculture need. It's insufficient to send all your children to school in $2. It's insufficient to put medical equipment in JFK with $2. It's insufficient to do a major significant investment in agriculture. The University of Liberia in the $2. So we will scramble. In the Prosperity Village, they choose the reverse. They take their $18, they send their children, they will send you to good school. We'll make sure we get good qualified teachers. We will make sure we get good laboratories for science projects. They also take in the $18, and they put significant investment in agriculture that has the ability to grow and reproduce and bring more income and bring more jobs. They take part of the $18 and they put it in health. They say, let's buy good equipment for JFK. Let's get MRI equipment. Let's get as many as we can so that we don't have to travel to other places when our people are sick. And then they would take the balance of their $2 and they say, now I can relax a little bit, having done the hard lifting of investing in these critical areas. Let me put the $2, I can buy my gas, I can buy my little soft drink. The proportion of that, this is what the story says of our nation. In the 12-year reign of President Sirleaf, if you have your pen and paper, I will take my own time and call the numbers. This is the story. In 12 years, the economy, through revenue generation, generated through our national budget $4.8 billion United States dollars. Of the $4.8 billion recurrent expenditure, that means comprising compensation, salaries, goods and services, transfer and subsidies, grants, take up 4.3 billion of that 4.8 billion. That is 90.3% consumption, while capital expenditure only received 456 million. That constitutes 9.7%. Under President Weah, the picture is in 5.5 years, say almost 6 years, the economy generated through revenue 3.5 billion United States dollars, of which the picture for recurrent expenditure is 3.1 billion. That is 88.3% we consume as a nation, and only 401 million in 5 years we say we put into capital expenditure project like health, education, agriculture. However, when you see, even in this capital expenditure, on what can we see? So these are some fundamental questions we have to be asking ourselves as a nation. So 88.3% recurrent expenditure of the 3.5 billion, and then only 11.7% is on capital expenditure. And what this means for us, as long as a nation we choose to go this path, our people are suffering. And why are they suffering? Let me give the breakdown. The people that represent us in the legislature. And let me just give a little context. Somebody may say, in 12 years, 4.8 billion. In 6 years under President, we are 3.5 billion. It's almost equal. Is there something magical about 5.5 years almost equal into 12 years? The reason why 12 years has 4.8 billion, it came from a low base of a budget of 80 million in 2006. So President Sirleaf, to her credit, she had to do the heavy lifting. Year one, from 80 million, you gradually grew to 100 million, a national budget size to 200 million, and up to the 12-year reign in 2017, took from a low base of 80 million to almost over 500 million or close to 600 million. So that is the reason why the Weah administration had now a better base of over 500 million. So in 6 years, it is not anything special. It's just that someone who preceded you did the heavy lifting first and set the platform, meaning the bricks and mortar were laid, the foundation were laid. And that's what we want. Government is continuity. So when you come late.
Mr. Minister, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but because we have to move on with these questions,
yeah,
and I know you're going to bring the juice out of this conversation.
Okay, right.
Let me ask my second question.
No,
Yes,
Senator,
sir.
can I just complete, given just 3 minutes, I will complete the story in terms of the breakdown.
Okay.
It's important.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So for the legislature, in 12 years, the legislature received 309.6 million of the 4.8 billion. Under WEA administration of the 3.5 billion, the legislature received 290.2 million. And if you break down the legislature in terms of policy area, which you may refer to as policy department, especially in the last 6 and 5 years, the office of the pro tem in the 17-18 fiscal year, the office of the pro tem receiving 1.2 million, that is in 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, 20-21 to 22. The legislature, in terms of a breakdown by year, there's a reason why I'm saying this. The office of the Speaker, the House of the Senate, the office of the Pro Tem, the office of the Deputy Speaker, the House of Representatives. They take in 17-18 fiscal year 49.3 million, 18-19 53.9 million, that is of this 3.5 billion, 19-20 38.8 million, 20-21 almost 40 million, 2022 65.7 million, and 2023 they are to get 60 million. However, agriculture is getting 4.8 million, 5.5 million, 4.3 million, 2.2 million, 6.8 million, and 5.4 million respectively for those fiscal year. The University of Liberia is getting grants, 16 million, 16 million, 17.3 million, 10.9 million, 16.6 million, 18.3 million. It is not sufficient to make a significant difference, especially for a higher institution of learning. Education in 3.5 billion, receiving in the fiscal period 17-18 to 2023 respectively 42 million, 36.2 million. And the picture is such that all I'm pointing to, critical sectors that need this budgetary allocation to make a significant difference for Ministry of Health in under President Salif, of the 4.8 billion received 400 million, of which in that Ministry of Health, they consume or consumption, which is on salary, get goods and services, transfer 348 million of 400, only 51.7 million is on capital expenditure. Education under Madam Salif of the 4.8 billion received 496.2 million, and we consume of that amount 483.7 million. Capital expenditure only received 12.5 million for education in 12 years. Capital expenditure in 12 years. MOA agriculture received of the 4.8 billion only 61.7 million, of which we consume, even in that it goes to salary mainly, 47.9 million. Only 10.3 million is on agriculture. What is the picture under President Weah? For President Weah, of the 3.5 billion, Ministry of Health received 389 million. However, like on salaries again, goods and services, it takes 352.9 million. Only 36.6 million is left for capital expenditure. MOE, that is education, received of the 3.5 billion under President Weah, 457.7 million. And consumption again takes 446 million. Only 11.7 million is for education.
So let's just be.
I'm ending on
okay.
agriculture. Agriculture is that we treat agriculture as a stepchild. Agriculture in receive of the 3.5 billion, agriculture received only 26.3 million, and on personnel, compensation, goods and services, it takes 25.27 million out of 26. Only 1.5 million is for capital expenditure. And the question is, the legislature, the executive, going forward, we should not emphasize just allocation to sectors, but we should not be emphasizing spending within sector. On what are we spending? I take a break at this point.
Thank you very much, Minister, because we need to ask you some very critical questions. We understand you know the numbers, you serve as minister, and you are not yet to defend Madam Sadiq's government. To our sister Joe May Scott in the back, please stay put. We'll bring you in. We're trying to rise up with Minister Kamara here because it's very important. I want to ask you though, did you listen to Samuel Toy yesterday? You had a chance to listen to him and Eugene. What was your takeaway with everything you just lay out? He has served this government plus or minus for the rest of the government life. What was your takeaway?
My takeaway, I saw him as a leader trying to give his story as to where they have come. And you be the judge of that story. Reference made to the poverty situation. He referencing some studies. But we also have another study of recent by the World Bank, June 2022, on Liberia in terms of poverty incidence. If you look under the executive summary reads the first paragraph, and I'll just focus on the second sentence. As a result, let me put the context. Liberia's economy is still recovering from years of poor economic and social performance, owing in part to repeated exogenous shocks, including the Ebola outbreak, the collapse of iron ore and rubber prices, the drawdown of United Nations peacekeeping forces, and the COVID-19 pandemic. The economy contracted by an average 0.4% per year between 2014 and 2020. And per capita gross domestic product fell by 12.3% cumulatively. As a result, the poverty rate is projected to have risen to 51% in 2021, wiping out nearly half of the gains made post-conflict, when the poverty rate declined from 64% to 42%.
That's why I want to, let me hold you right there, because, I want Oman in the marketplace.
Yeah. So what that means, the poverty rate, according to this data, the most recent, between 2007 and 2014, the number of poor person reduced a little bit. It came down from 64% to 42%. However, in 2021, given all of the things that have been happening around us, when we say exogenous shocks, my people, the Ebola that killed many of us, many of our families, like for me, a peace be to my uncle and his entire family, 9 out of which I think only 2 or 3 survived. So the Ebola killed some of our people. The prices of the main thing we can sell outside Liberia, we call our main export, like rubber and iron ore.
Iron ore and everything. So that increases the poverty rate, right?
The price, when it reduce, when you sell your market, if you're selling beta ball, and if the beta ball price is that high, the more they buy from you, you can get more revenue. But you as the business person, you always want for the price to be high. Why? Because you want more money. But when the price of what you sell is low, then the amount of money you can get is small. That can also impact on poverty. The people who are in our country called Ome.
So, Mr. Kamara. So at the end of the day now, Mr. Kamara, let's say something. The picture is from 2014
between 2014 to 2021, the poverty, as per this report says,
yes,
it go up. The poverty rate go up to 51% in 2021. So this is the data. So you be the judge. Between what Minister Twes said yesterday and what this report is saying, you be the judge.
Yeah. Okay. Let bring the guys down because I'm so folks. If we have to bring in Minister Kamara, we will bring him yet again. But we have to squeeze him and we have to beat him because we want the best out of him for the sake of Liberia. The poverty rate is so high.
Stanton,
yes, sir.
The importance of why I'm appearing. We have embarked on a national civic voter education through what an instrument we call the social contract. We must not begin to hold our leaders to high standard.
Correct.
In that social contract, it says all those vying for the office of president and vice president, you will have to commit to what we call zero tolerance to corruption, zero tolerance to human trafficking, zero tolerance to drug trafficking, substance abuse of our young people, to the extent where you will commit as a person vying for the office of the president. With all of the numbers we have shown, the time has come then you must now make a sacrifice now. Liberia needs sacrifice. So your salary as president, we're suggesting it should not be more than 6,000. And we lay counts as to what should apply for deputy minister, assistant ministers, and down the line. In consultation with the legislature, we are calling on the people's representative. We elect you to these offices. The time has come, you must put the citizen of Liberia at the center of the budget. And when we say at the center of the budget, going forward, capital expenditure on a year by year in the first term of the president, let capital expenditure as a share of the national budget be at least 10%, year 2, 20%. So you can imagine, Stanton, go to year 5 or year 6 under a president when the share of capital expenditure should just be, say, 50%. So what is 50% of 4.8 billion? That's 2.4 billion. You know what 2.4 billion can do? That means as a country, we need to just ask ourselves, do we have to even borrow?
Let's bring in Dr. Richard saying, Eugene Lamik Faigon. We'll go to Councillor Lamik Pakor, Gibson, Jerry, Daniel Sander, and Alpha Dika will be last in answering the 2 questions each. Dr. Richardson, please.
For the sake of transparency, I'd like to announce that Mr. Kamara is my uncle. So I just want you guys to know that. Yes. Yes.
But you see, you didn't tell us, and we invited the man here, and now you're telling us.
My late mother's brother.
Full disclosure.
Yes. So, Mr. Kamara.
Wait. So now you're causing a king Osa Jenna?
Now, please, I beg you.
Yeah, that was the cousin.
So
I just want to make sure.
We'll talk different things. So,
Okay.
Mr. Kamara,
Yes.
yesterday I listened to Mr. Twes and Mr. Nambi's interview. I got confused at certain portions of the interview, and I want you to please help me with some clarity because at the time, I believe, well, during the Ellen government, you are Minister of Finance.
Anyway, the last Minister of Finance, and that's for 16 months, so 16, 17 months.
Yes,
so
and before that,
Yes,
before that, you worked in the ministry. They were talking about
the
the road between Ganta and Saniquale, and also the Ganta Highway there. And Mr. Twe said that the road was sponsored by loans and grants. No, Mr. Nangme said that the road was sponsored by Liberia. Then I know that Mr. Moniba was here. Dr. Moniba, when he was here, he said that he was involved in gathering money for the road. Could you please kindly tell me, was the road funded by Liberians or did we get grants for that road?
If you just thank you, Dr. Francine. To do justice to this issue about rural fundings and what have you, we can better prepare. However, let me just give, for example, the Manga Salaye Road Project. Funders, the government secure funding for the Banga Salaye, so that Lofa County Road. OFIP gave us 20 million, ratified by the legislature on August 19, 2016, obtained. Badia gave us 12 million. It was ratified on August 19, 2016, and obtained. The Saudi fund gave us 20 million, ratify on, that's July 13, 2017, just before I was leaving office. So that's 42 million. That's 20, 40, 52 million. So funding for that role was secure, man. Okay. So I just want to speak to that because that's my recollection on that. So regarding and then the thing is,
can you add
no,
this?
1 minute. I was in 1 minute. 1 minute.
All right,
I think we should now be looking at more substance than argument. So whether my Ellen Day rule, you can clearly see who they rule from Morovia to Nema County. And you can see it. Who they rule from Morovia to Bicano. And you can see it. But can you see any rule between Banga Salaye to Lofa County? Do you see it?
Not yet.
So let us be discussing substance. So if President Weah has done it and you see it, it is there. Okay? And from okay, it will be there, right? So the question is, let us just these are the we want real solution. Let us be talking real issues, and the real issue now is let us begin to do priority spending as a nation.
Okay.
We do
I
have
want
to
to ask one question.
Okay, go ahead, man.
No, I'm gonna waive my second question to Daniel Sandu. I think was first.
Well, don't ask your question. Are you not?
No,
okay, let's go to Fagon. Thank you.
Anytime.
But thank you, Minister Fagon. Coming with yours, please.
Thank you, and how you doing, Mr. Kamara? How are you?
I'm doing fine, my brother, and it's good. It's good speaking with you. Every time I see you on the show, thanks for your service to nation, and we're happy to speak with you.
Thank you too. I'm inspired by what you read, and the spiritual context invigorated every hair on my skin because we are in dangerous times, and those are us who dare to speak out know what we are facing. You cannot be asking for a multi-billion-dollar company when you're sitting here in the house eating dry rice. They may as well just scoop you out. And I believe that's the reason why you don't see many people out there, or you don't hear many individuals speaking out. They're very, very afraid. So my question will be general, but contextual. And I will ask respectfully that you break it down for Mamusu. I don't want you to speak to the level of Daniel Sanu or Bagoy. Do not speak to the level. Please speak to the level of Mamusu. And when you listen to Samuel Twe and Eugene Langbe, my first question, what would you consider to be respectful as, what should I call it, a lie or a statement that had no factual basis? And what would you say was a statement that you heard that has some truth or similarity of truth? In the whole of the interview, you just say, okay, I am Boyma Kamara. This is a blatant lie. This is a lie. This one is also a lie. And then you say, okay, I think they said something truthful about this one. Help me just summarize it for me for my 2 minutes. First question. You are muted.
What I see in terms of Minister Twe, Commissioner Nangbe attempt was to say, as a country, we had an ambition. We promised 1 million jobs. But when we came to office, the condition presidents didn't permit for. And I can say to you, sitting as a Minister of Finance, it's not an easy place in terms of governing and serving as the financial manager of the country. So they were saddled with the issue of the pass-through effect coming out of Ebola. It did still linger, and those were things that we were confronted by under the Saliva administration. Those are true. Commodity price in terms of weak external demand was the case. True. And you see a parallel between the two administrations. Ebola struck us. We survived. In their case, COVID-19 struck them. They are trying to survive too. So those are contexts that and the border on economic governance in terms of financial management, in terms of revenue generation, domestic mobilization. So they were trying to just come out and say, my people, we promised you 1 million jobs, but we were only able to do 27,000 jobs, and we're still working hard. So honesty from the part of official, that's what we want. But on the other end, if you talk about poverty incidents, all right, and he make reference to a data. So I would say to you, the journalist, the fourth estate, begin now to do your research well. If Abu Kamara said poverty rate is this, however, there's another report that says the contrary, then my response to you in terms of truth or lie, I say you be the judge.
All right, now, you know, you are my friend on that just now. I went straight to Liberian English. You are my friend on that just now. Because I see there was an attempt not to throw your man under the bus. So say you don't want to throw your man under the bus, I have a way where two of you can go on the bus.
No,
that's
not why I'm here. I'm a professional, Eugene.
You go in there. So today, you know, our people.
I've never gone on any bus.
Yeah, the people on the show, they can tell, oh, pressing. So we're coming for you now. Here is it. You had a very low budget, an unambitious budget. You paid your people $150 as the law required.
That's correct.
Your friends then came and said that, whoa, we will raise the budget. And they wind up cutting the salaries that you could barely collect money to pay, but you paid it anyways.
That's correct.
You saying that's correct? But your friends then, this economy and no jobs thing you're talking now, your friends then wind up paying the people you were paying $150, wind up paying them $45. And not just your friends. The president at the State of the Union address, State of the Nation address, said, Honorable Speaker, I did not know until quite recently that over 15,000 people in my government were paid below the minimum wage. Your situation of Ebola took over 3,500 lives. I serve as deputy minister in the government, and we barely lost 300 people. Of all the events. We were praised as one of the 5th best countries that handled COVID very well. So I said to you, we know now what the poverty is. Thank you for explaining that to us. Yes, we catch the record. But see your friends then. They are now almost 800 million in their budget. You don't raise your budget unless you have the revenue backing. Mm-hmm. And you will not get revenue backing unless the economy is performing.
That's correct.
Where is this voodoo economics? You better help us here before we get this. You better help us.
Okay.
You have 500 million, you pay us 150. They may get 800 million, he pay us $45. You gave us back a rice for $13. Your friend spent 11 million to subsidize rice and gave it to us for $22. You collected the road from 30 cents on a gallon. Your friend Kim collected 50 cents on a gallon. At the time you collected 30 cents, gasoline was $3.50. Yes, we understand the war in Ukraine, but gasoline now is $5.20 to $5.50. Help us understand your best friend voodoo economics, please.
And as a professional, I frowned on the entire harmonization process. So what you call harmonization, it was just a redistribution of poverty.
Thank you.
You can't. And this is it. What you did in effect is that the real purchasing power of people were reduced. And that's just the direct income effect. The other side to how we should be analyzing this matter, you look at the inflationary impact on people. So on one end, you did harmonization. On the other end, the macroeconomic fundamentals through inflation. The higher inflation is, and the person's income remains not considered or consistent with the growth in inflation rate, higher inflation fixed, meaning if they give you $100, all right, you earn $100, inflation goes up by 10%. That means that $10 from your $100 you no longer have. You only have $90. And if you think you only have $100, you suffer from what we call money illusion. So to have gone into a harmonization process, reducing people's salary by law, it was even a violation, and the legislature should have defended the people. Salary by law, you keep it at that level, and any attempt to have reduced it. So what should have been the trade-off? If I were the minister, you put a freeze on hiring, which we did. In my 60-month fiscal rules were in place. We put a freeze on new hire in government, and especially as a new government coming to office, what you wanted to do, all of those you are seeking to accommodate, create the avenue for the private sector for them. Take 10 million, put 10 million in agriculture per wagon. See this. The boys we are calling Zogos and Zogis, the pimping router, they have no other option. Let's create an option. Say, give me 10 million, I will give you 20 million in 2 years. How? Get the listing of all of the guys who are doing pimping ride. Get the listing of all the guys who are we calling Zogo. They are just underprivileged Liberians. So let us stop calling them that name. Mr. President, I beg you, this is from my heart. Pass an executive order. Anyone who find calling the people, let the police arrest them. You don't call our brothers Zogos and Zogi. What do you do? Between Fender and Kakata, we have several unutilized land area. Clear that place. Do cash crop, cucumber, tomato, pepper, and we'll sell to the supermarket. We'll not allow anybody to go across Guinea to bring pepper into Liberia when we can grow pepper. So those guys, you give them an option, pay them at least 100 or 150, all of them, put them in that place. They are growing food for market, generating income. It has a sustainable impact for yourself. You build small housing unit, give those guys $150 a month. You think they'll go right pay when they know they have some housing unit, when they have some medical support? Give me 2 years or give me 3 years. Morovia would be a better place because it will be a place of transparency and accountability and putting the people at the center of economic development.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you. Let's bring in Councillor Bako. Councillor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kamara. Just a little bit of correction. The president doesn't have any authority to make criminal law by executive order. And I don't think
I'm just throwing something out there. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought to just say that because I don't think we should encourage people who have dictatorial tendencies to start thinking that they can make laws by fiat. You know, so coming from someone like you, who is very respectable, they may think that it's something that is worth doing. So you gotta be careful.
Anyway, we can't go to debate. You are a lawyer, but I know in this United States where I sit, the president has some authority. You can pass executive order on things that.
Yeah, but not to make criminal law. Not to make criminal law. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Oh, okay,
so you shouldn't encourage somebody, as I said, somebody with a dictatorial tendency. You shouldn't encourage them to think that they can make law by executive order.
Okay.
I just 2 simple questions for you. Corruption is one of our major problems in this country. How much you think it costs the country? I mean, you're sitting as foreign finance minister for 2 years, and also someone who was on the Financial Intelligence Unit's board.
The economic management team.
The Financial Intelligence Unit.
No, not financial intelligence.
No, Mr. Kamara, I'm talking about the Financial Intelligence
Unit. FIU. The FIU.
Yeah,
correct.
FIU.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I presided as minister. You the head. Yeah, correct. As minister of finance. Yes.
So, I mean, you know the issue of corruption. You know the issue of illicit financial flows and what it costs this country. how much you think we can improve our economy, just off the top of your head, if we deal with the everyday problem of corruption and we deal with all these illicit activities that actually drag our economy down? In simple terms, what can you tell the Liberian people? What's the medication that you have that you can propose?
Thank you, Councilor Paga. Sometimes we tend to overcomplicate things. All right, with all the theory, economic stuff. And a case in point, when we took over the Ministry of Finance, May 2016, the entry point was rough. People will fight people of good character. They will fight you to death because you'll be standing for the well-being of the people. They want to kill you even to the extent possible. 3 months of my entry into the ministry, they fight me. I received non-cooperation, but I will resolve. I say, everything that you people are trying to hide here, I will stand up for the truth and protect my integrity. And whosoever that in this ministry, you can imagine, I enter as Minister of Finance, I will give instruction to the Deputy Minister. He will come back and tell me, he will not do it. So I had to go to the President and say, Mr. President, if you really have given me this place to do your work, I want the people around me removed. I want my own people. That's how I brought Minister Atta. I recommended for Joa Fika, Deputy Minister. And from that moment, and I brought in Honorable Henson Kezulu. And I say, you people, let's do a teamwork. In 3 months, Councilor Bago, from July, August, September, I signed an MOU with Governor, the governor then of the central bank. What is my colleague name? Milton Weeks. He was the then governor. So we signed an MOU and we said, going forward, anybody who comes with a check issued by the Ministry of Finance, not on a list, approved by me and signed by the Controller and Accountant General Henson Kezulu, approved by me. If you pay, it will be at the expense of the central bank. And the second thing we instituted, we made sure that almost 90% of government revenue collection must be centralized at the central bank in the consolidated account. We didn't allow for splinter accounts in commercial banks. Few existed. In 3 months, Councilor Parker, almost 80 million that could have gone through the cracks, through business as usual, we save. And then I reported to the president, and 2 or 3 of my other colleagues said to me, just the few months you came to this post and what you have done, the testimony of the president is, she had hope. You have been around maybe for 4 or 5 years of a reign. Councilor Parker, I can say to you, we are so blessed. If we all just stop stealing as officials of government, stop doing all of the bad things, syndicate between Ministry of Finance, Central Bank, you put money in the budget, you call somebody who is the Ministry of Health or Education, y'all take the money out of the budget and divide it. It does not go to the sector in need. We should stop. Corruption has to be fought and fought with every degree of our might. So there is a cause. With country's cause defending, let's meet the foe with valor unpretending. Liberia shall rise. It needs men of courage. It requires political leadership. And you are right. The imperial presidency, in our case, is an issue. So should we be thinking of calling for a referendum and review what power the president has? It's inherent in the people, and the time has come. That's what this advocacy is saying. Power to the people, because the government is for, by, and of the people, so that the people become to be educated. So you and I on this show, who are the enlightened? Let us begin to go into all of the counties, every area, and let's begin break down these things we are talking here, and give our people greater position of strength. That when the opposition, when a candidate comes to you and asking you a question, then you know that this social contract we are advancing, Lami, you being in the CSOs. So let's take this social contract and tell our people when a candidate comes to you, this is a bargaining chip. They should not just give you rice, you take. They should not just give you money, you take. Now you can tell them, say, thank you for your rice. But these are issues of concern. Rampant corruption has to be addressed. Issue of substance abuse. See our brothers and sisters. Some of those guys, I just came when I did my registration in April, and I walked Broad Street, go down Center Street. I grieved, I cried. I said, it's this the Liberia we seek. Those are people in need that we must help. It is possible. Yes, we can.
Thank you very much, Minister Kamara. Let's move to Gibson. Mr. Gibson Jeru. Excuse me, Councillor.
Thank you very much.
You have questions, right?
Wait, hold on 1 minute. I thought you said you asked
We
a
have
simple
two
question.
questions.
But you did ask
Nobody
two questions.
Two questions. I asked you one.
Okay, go ahead with your second. Go ahead with your second, sir. Okay.
So I will just preface my question by saying that compact, I think you should prepare that compact and have all the political leaders sign it, and all the legislators also should sign it.
I will send you the copy. I will send you the copy. Any help? That will
we will be the first people to sign onto it. We'll be the first people to sign onto it. And I think you should have a consequence clause also. Oh, another thing.
I beg you should please send me your email after here. Let's talk.
I will do that.
Thank you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of 0 to 10, in fact, and 0 being the worst and 10 being the best, what will you put Liberia, and how quickly you think, if it's in a worse state, how quickly you think we can move the country forward, and how long you think it would take us to recover?
It would be to respond to such a question by asking, what is the reference period you're asking me? So what am I assessing? Am I assessing,
over the past 5.5 years? Over the past 5.5 years.
So over the past 5.5 years, what are we looking at in terms of scoring? Are you talking about political governance? Are you talking about economic?
Political governance, all the basic economics, education, or rule of law, those basic indicators.
So there is a more foundation assessment of Liberia. Yes. You have the United Nations documentation. This recent June 2022 report on poverty in Liberia, it clearly tells us that things are not better off than it was 5 years ago. You ask the question, exchange rate in terms of the Liberian dollar to the United States dollar, has it depreciated? Yes, there's a depreciation in the value of the domestic currency. Is that something that is better off or worse off? We say no, it's worse off now. The question about extrajudicial killing in our society, is that a concern? Was it happening? Did we kill 5 professionals? Matthew Innes, he happens to be a brother. When the day that guy died, something in me still bleeds, because he was like a brother, a person who comes from a struggling, modest background. We struggled together at the University of Liberia. We walked to school many days, but in the discharge of his duty to society, he got killed. 4 other gifty lama. Are those something with continence? It's evil of the day, and it has to stop. It's worse. That wasn't the case under the Salif administration. People had the right to express themselves, and they were allowed to express themselves void of being threatened. Irrespective of the fact you came from a different political persuasion and alignment, I, as Minister of Finance, I signed onto a document that the current Minister of Finance, he was appointed to the ADB. He came from CDC. He was not Unity Party partisan. But yet we believe in a common cause, that you be a Liberian, irrespective of where you align yourself, be given the space, and let us begin to respect people for where they stand on issues. That's how our democracy should thrive. And let us start branding people, because if I don't support CDC, I'm not an enemy. It's just on the matter of what we believe in terms of the way forward for our country. The day has come, and I'm calling on all of the enlightened. Governor Jones, you are where you are. You are a father to the nation. We need you people. Double Jala, we need. Gafan, we need. Let's come back to the table. Liberia needs us. Our people need us. We must do this for Liberia. And I can tell you, this election going forward beyond 2023, they caused through now I'm saying I'm just emotional, because I see our country bleeding right before our eyes, and we are silent.
Guys, let's take a break. Let's take a break. Let's take a break, guys. Dama, can you go to music, put up the flyer, place on this phone, Team Sun. We usually don't take a break on the program, but we will take a break today. Let's go. Let's take a break, Dama. It's important that we're going to play the Team Sun and take a few minutes break, please.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, right at the South Bend.
But I'm on the floor. Yeah. It's getting emotional.
To be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moreover, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah.
Thank you.
You from Vonjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the producer. We want to say it again to all of our many followers. We are here with the Minister Boyman S. Kambara talking national issue concerning Liberia. Our next segment will be bringing in Joe Scott, the daughter of Gloria Scott, former Chief Justice, to discuss the issue of what happening and what happened today at the Liberian Central Prison. We want to welcome every one of you. Usually we do not take a break.
I haven't asked my question yet.
Today. No. We will come to you, Daniel. We must take a break because it was so emotional. This is about Liberia. So when we hear people saying, well, shut down Spoon Network, shut down the radio station, shut down. We as personal, we have to close the station. Folks, Facebook is still alive. This is about Liberia we are talking about. It is in the interest of every Liberian that you should have one critical network to speak truth to power. And we have prepared ourselves and our mindset for that. This is Liberia we have, and this is Liberia we must protect. So, Minister, it's good to have you. Sorry that we make you emotional. But again, we will continue with the conversation with you. And then please hang with us. We need to take questions. Liberians are asking us to give them the chance to ask you questions. So after this round, we'll ask you to hang with us. Now let's move to Gibson. I know you were speaking, but you can also continue when Gibson asks us 2 questions. Mr. Jeru, your 2 questions, sir.
Thank you, Brother Kamal. Thank you very much. One of our youngest to serve as Minister of Finance. And before I ask my question, did you enjoy that position?
Yes, I say it was an honor because in hindsight, I believe God put me there for such a time as this.
Did you think you made some mistake there?
I brought improvement rather than mistakes.
Okay, this is my
I have improved that system. Yeah.
This is my first question.
The other 2 questions was what?
No, I'm not asking question. I'll just.
Oh, it was what?
I said before I ask my question, Brother Kamara, Human Index, the World Bank Human Index is intended to show the hope, the aspiration of any human being before you reach the age 18, that you are going to improve in your country in which you live.
All right.
In 2017, during the early administration, Liberia stood at 39%, and the Liberia was about 46 in the line of countries that were in that position. Today, Liberia stands second in the line of 174 countries, and it is 0.32%, which means from 39% of young people being hopeful that when they grow and become 18 years, they can be something good. Today, in the we are government, the human index report say we are 0.3%. Is that a massive failure?
It just shows that we've gone worse off, and we need to do better.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question that has to do with the finance ministry. If you see that, let me know.
Yeah.
In during the American administration, he published a memorandum in which he said that all vehicles, Liberian bringing vehicles that are 20 years or older, will not be allowed to enter Liberia. And if you are 10 years to 20 years, 11 years to 20 years, you will pay extra 10% punitive tax. Did you happen to see that memo?
Yes, I met it there, and it was being executed by the LRA under the then Commissioner General, Frida Tama. Yes.
It was a foreign minister who issued that. And you, a foreign minister, you had a responsibility, you have the ability to undo that. Did you try to undo it?
Getting into the ministry at the time then, there were other critical issues of concern. And what that law intended to do was to say the issue about conversation around climate change, the impact of old models on the country, a decision of that nature for me, government wanted to get revenue, and it says bring in better vehicle that improves the well-being of people. So looking at the economic benefit of such law, it was something that I said it was not of an importance to say let's argue that out. And especially so at the time then I needed revenue too to pay the salary in difficult times.
So do you think today we have 27 million Liberians out of poverty?
Wherever that report comes from, I don't know. The report that I know of is the June 2022 report. And that's why I say you be the judge. Read that report and be the judge.
Okay. My two questions are over.
Can I proceed? Thank you, Minister. We're together last night again on another platform. I'm happy to be here with you.
Oh, thank you.
But I had a question for you centering on the harmonization, but I think you already described the harmonization as a redistribution of poverty among Liberians. I think that is enough. But my first question to you is, in terms of fiscal crisis, economists will employ austerity measures. In our case, they say the government will reduce spending in consumables in other areas like moratorium or foreign travels, among others. How does a president traveling on a private jet, as in the case of President Weah, undermine the very essence of austerity economics?
Again, I will put it this way. President Salif, she flew commercial planes. She didn't fly private jet. And in 2016, when I came to the ministry, the drafting of the fiscal rule was painful, but it was necessary end to be able to pay salaries on time. So I, as minister, I accepted to fly economy. Madam Salif restricted us to the extent that not more than 3 persons, if I'm traveling as minister, I can't go more than even 2 persons. And I had to fly economy to the extent, sometimes I would say, hey, man, Joa, I beg you, Joa, let me ask my money on top so I can fly business class because I'm Minister of Finance. All right. But the point is, there was determination encouraged by the leader, President Salif then. and said, no, these were tough times, these were difficult times. We have to make the tough choices and take the tough decision. So the fiscal rule, freeze on new hire, fiscal rule, even the duration of your trip, not more than 3 or 4 days, you are back. So you be the judge. President Salif did not run a private jet. You be the judge.
Thank you, Minister. So my next question, you talk about the poverty incidence report, and that goes without saying that food poverty is also on the rise in Liberia. For you, the economists, data are very essential to you, but for the ordinary people, they are interested in food beyond the table and money being in their pockets. The government, no doubt, has failed to expand the economy. So my question is, do you think, as a result of the failed economic policy of the government, or is it just a gossip of incompetence, all of the things we see?
What I would say, we have not been able to identify a perennial problem as a country. And I dare say, this government will go. A new government may come. The things happening today is just right in the starts that we have shown that as a country, we continue to tread that path where we generate revenue, but we consume and not invest in the critical sector. So it will always be a repeat. Is that we're scrambling, when in fact, you have what God has blessed you with, but you're not properly prioritizing and using it for the purpose intended. And that brings me to the point of your question that says, take, for example, right in the sub-region, why is it that Sierra Leone is prospering to some extent better off than Liberia? Because in Sierra Leone, members of parliament, they make something that's 20.5 million leone. That's equivalent to just around 1,000 United States dollars. In Cote d'Ivoire, as almost the third largest within the sub-region, better performing, members of their parliament, the basic salary, including some allowances, is not more than 6,000 United States dollars. Ghana, 29,000 cedis of members of parliament, and that is converted, will give you somewhere close to around $3,000. But in Liberia, Daniel, you tell me, how much do our legislators make? Daniel, can you tell me?
If you combine everything, it's in the tune of $11,000.
And you know why is that the case? You know why is that the case? It comes back again that the Liberian people are not at the center of the Liberian budget. It has to change. So it's not a government problem. Because if we had not done this and seen the number, the next government will come and follow suit. So now this must be a wake-up call. Let's use this data and say, government, Minister Twe, it's not his making that he's struggling, because the foundation to the problem predates him. And if you don't checkmate that foundation, they say, if the foundation be destroyed, what should the righteous do? For the foundation of the Liberian economic governance has been destroyed, and we keep building on a structure that is fragmented. It has to change. So it is not the making of Minister Twe. It was not my making when I struggled at the time then. It could not be the making of the new Minister of Finance coming in.
I'm sorry.
No.
So, Minister,
I'm going to the core.
No, guys. We gotta go to Al Hussein, please. I know we have.
No, but we need to interrogate that point a little bit.
No.
But how can he say
We gotta go to Al Hussein, folks.
But he said it's not his fault.
Fagon,
Who says that it is a foundational issue?
Mr. Minister,
was to a minister under 12 years before us, before this time.
Guys, we got to bring in Al Hussein. Let's just be respectful of our time, please. We have that time to give it to Kamara tonight, Minister Kamara, but let's bring in Mr. Fadika. Mr. Fadika, please, your two questions.
No more question. Saying something about money. That was the response to Dr. Richardson Something you said about the, I think 40 million that was collected. What I wanted to know then, and I think most people wanted to know, was those concessional loan or grant?
They were loans. Those are
Well,
loans. It's not free.
Yeah, I know.
They are loans. That's why they had to go to the legislature for ratification.
Good. All right. So thank you for that. My first question is, what was the state of the economy? How much did you guys leave in our national reserve when you left from office?
At the central bank, I think the number was somewhere around 140 million or so in the foreign exchange reserve. But again, that number can be seen on the central bank website. It's there. You can find it there. I think it was somewhere around there, somewhere in that neighborhood of not more than 200 million plus.
Yeah, I'm taking everything now. You can't find anything when it comes to this government, even on the NEC. But so we'll say, yeah, around that. You mentioned that there should be salary reduction for minister, but that was a lot of people made those same cry when you were minister during the Salif administration. Why didn't you do it at that time? When you left from power, people were still making 15, more than what they are making now. So
for me, when I presided for 1 year, 6 months, all right, there was a hiring freeze, salary increase freeze. So as much as we can, the fault of yesterday does not mean we can correct it now. So what I'm bringing for Fadiga is that we all collectively now, we must not sit around the table and say, let's make the high choices. And especially given the regional comparison. Why should MPs, members of parliament in Liberia with a struggling economy be making such an amount compared with Ghana, a better performing economy of not more than $5,000 that legislature make? Is that something we want to see continue? No.
Even the
we can't.
Well, the question was short. I just want to just leave you with this question. Do you support the Unity Party? What's your political affiliation, if you want to do that?
This is Boema Kamara. Go across all of the political parties. I am not a member of any political party. However, I will support the candidacy of Joseph Boyka. I believe he's a father, and I believe he's somebody that I've interacted, I've come to know, and that's somebody I want to trust with the future of the country in terms of the transition. But in the next round of our election, be prepared. You will hear Boema Kamara putting his hand up. I want to be president of our nation. Dr. Francia, you should put your hands up too to become the next president of our nation. Eugene Fagon, put your hand up. Why?
No.
Why are we? So put your hand up, Daniel. Put your hand up. Liberia needs us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Minister Kamara. No, I will bring you in, brother. I'm begging you.
I don't want this thing to leave my brain. I'm begging you. Yeah.
Usually I hear with you.
Something that triggers every power in my body. Yeah, please, I beg you. You said Samuel Twe is not to blame.
Yes.
Drug harmonization. It's
No,
Samuel Twe.
no, Eugene.
Wait.
Okay,
You said this thing is an age-old problem.
Correct.
You educated us and told us that the minister is the financial manager of the country.
Yeah.
You are the financial manager. You are supposed to tell us this is right, this is wrong, this is how we do it, this is how it should be. You are the manager. You brought harmonization. You reduced everything. You tackle everything. And you said this man is not to blame. It's an age-old problem.
Okay, let me.
Question to you.
Yeah.
How is it a problem? Okay. When Blama Kamara came, how is it not, a problem? When Blama Kamara came and said, we'll pay these people 150. You came in and said, we'll pay you $45, you like it or not. Blama said, let's keep our budget at 5 something while trying to raise revenue, 500 million, while trying to raise revenue. You came and said, I raise revenue to 800 million. And guess what? I don't care for anything called inflation. How is it now your problem when you came and met everything working and now everything is screwed up on you? How is it not your problem?
Well, in the context of macroeconomic management, you are right.
I am right. Because you fix it for me.
Fagon, let him address
And
it
he
now.
give me damage.
Let's be professional now.
Hold on
brother.
now. Hold on.
Let's
Let
be
him
professional.
finish up. Go ahead,
Let's be
Minister
professional.
Kamara.
He got
Go
emotional.
ahead,
I'm
Minister
emotional.
Kamara.
I come in, Eugene. I can be sentimental too.
Minister Kamara, go
Let's
ahead,
be
please.
professional. In the context of macroeconomic governance, that which management, that which you are talking, the decision we take, fiscal rule, discipline, you are right. The context in which I say, if I become the next Minister of Finance, the structural foundation of our country's economic governance is the problem, and we'll have to solve it. There where I come from. If we don't correct this systemic abuse and wanton misuse of our country's resources, put the best mind there, we will struggle. I did struggle. However, there were discipline. And I told you what we did to stop some of the bleeds that Governor Weeks every time. So Governor Weeks, I said to him, for me, the reason why I'm insisting on this, and like the Spirit of the Lord is saying to me, son, say to them, we need people who fear God, who fear me. The fear for God will tell you, say, don't steal government money when you are presented the opportunity. And that's why in those 3 months, we signed the MOU. And I said to Governor Weeks, please, and he was very cooperative. Anybody who came outside of that list, every Monday morning, we will meet. We ask, what is the balances found in the consolidated balance revenue and Liberian dollar? They give me the number. Debt management, in the context of allocation from the budget, what are the priority areas that we must agree on? We list 10. So in that listing of 10, Controlling Accounting General signs. I have fixed my signature. We send to Governor Weeks, 80 million. And I reported to President Salif that I said, this is what we have. And that's why we're able to maintain some of those roles. If you go back, take some pictures, you saw me moving to the 15 counties towards the end of the administration, making sure that we're working, we leverage the expertise of the AFL, the engineering department. We give them some of that money so they use their equipment and have some of those roles passable, even. And that's why we must rethink the way we do development. However, it has to come from stopping the bleed. And
Okay,
there where
but
I
we
come from, I say the problem is not Minister Tue. It has
It
to do with
is.
all of
He
us.
was the one that brought the policy
Fagon, please.
No, I'm just saying.
I have provided you context. Fagon, let us not be shouting at the top of our head.
We have
Fagon, let other
Let us
people.
not
Hold
shout
on,
at the top of our head.
Gibson,
I
hold
have
on,
given
Fagon.
you context. I have not provided
Fagon,
you
we have to
context.
have. We
I
have
have
to have
provided
some
you
order.
context.
Minister Kamara, let me come in, please. I know you are with us. You are not leaving because we book you for the rest of the show. And I want to appreciate you for the next 50 minutes we have on this program tonight. I really want to appreciate you. I mean, you are saying exactly what's in my. Do you think Samuel 12, you can blame Samuel 12 financially for anything? Forget about the structure of our financial problem. I will ask you my 2 questions and we'll bring in Joe May because we really got to talk about Gloria Scott tonight. But do you think, what can you blame Samuel 12 and President George Manneh, we are government on, when you talk about our macroeconomic, the structure of the economy right now, the status of the poverty rate, the harmonization, the bad roads, the bad healthcare in place, bad education, everything plus more, corruption. I didn't say it. The United States ambassador said it. It's all over. What? Tell the Liberian people tonight. Where can you blame this government or Samuel 12 as a whole?
I would rather respond in this way by saying how I have done it different. So, firstly, coming to the office, especially as a Minister of Finance, you have kept me close to you. The first thing is I'm going to say this now to the Liberian people. We must learn to respect people who serve offices and seek from them where they were living and what you needed to know. In my case, there was no turnover ceremony. I'm saying it from my heart. It was wrong. It was wrong. I left that ministry on the 20th of December 2017. I never returned to that ministry again to do official turnover. I left those documents
As
on my
former
desk.
minister, though, as former minister, do you
As
think
former minister
Senator
of
is at
finance.
fault? Yes, Senator, is he at fault? Name everything with name. Not what you would have done differently, but do you think Senator is at fault at this time, seeing where our country is? Our poverty rate. Is he at fault for the way in which they harmonize
It is the entire system.
government?
The legislature is at fault. The executive is at fault. The judiciary is at fault. The entire system is at fault.
Okay.
Thank
you. I'm not going to push you
on an individual when it's an age-old problem we are confronting. And that's why we say the social contract has to be signed.
And we respect. Can you talk to us about this thing we always hear from the lawmakers and that of the executive branch, that the rural fund, the rural fund, the rural fund?
Okay, on the rural fund is like my baby. We set up the structure. It was initiated by the former minister, Amara Corner, and I came in. We worked towards, went through all the processes of making sure it was set up and be independent. And the account setup for the rural fund was to make sure that all importers, make sure you put government money where it was, especially you're not the one paying it, you only collecting and deposit the portion required and put it in. So the stewardship that's required to make sure people are held accountable, hold them. Hold them. You could be my brother or my sister. If you take government money, it's not for you. You have to account. Pay it. Put it there. It is not coming from your revenue. It is something that's already in the price. When Standard go and buy gasoline, it's in the price. When Daniel goes to buy gasoline, 1 gallon, it's in that price. So why would somebody after 1 year, 2 years can pay or had not taken out that portion? So something is wrong. So LRA.
Was there anything? You said American brought this in, and you came after
and completed.
Was there anything authorizing you as a finance minister to use funds from the rural fund?
No.
The 25 million that was used by Samuel Tway, and he came back and said,
the rural fund is an independent account for the purpose of rural maintenance. It is clear.
So was it wrong? Was it wrong by the finance minister Samuel Tway
if you use what is stated in the use of the rural fund by law? If the law says it is for rural maintenance, it uses to pay salary. It is wrong. It's wrong. Yeah.
Then why wouldn't you admit that he did some really bad things?
You said, Eugene, I have answered you. I said your perspective comes in the context of macroeconomic financial management, and some of the things you have raised. Yes, you are right. So those are errors. But I'm speaking about the national economic governance. So in the context of national economic financial governance, when you are consuming 90% of raising billions of dollars, you are consuming capital expenditure, receives a corporate share of it. It is beyond 12. We have to come back and then rethink.
I mean, honestly, as much as I would disagree with Senator Tway, I think you're being fair with your answer, and I respect you for your honesty, because sometimes it is rooted into our governance, and you are quite correct, and I respect you for your answer. As much as I would disagree with some of the things that Senator Tway have done to our nation, I believe you've been very fair not to put this 100% on Senator Tway. And on that note, I want to say please hang with us as we welcome Jo-May Scott, the daughter of Gloria Scott. Welcome to Spoon Talk, Madam Scott. It's good to have you, and we hope to have you again, but welcome. Let's talk. You are on the show. Your mother today, she was at the Liberia National Police Headquarters Central, and you reached out to say how much you want to appear on Spoon today. Here you are. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Witherspoon, Dr. Richardson, Minister Fagon, Councilor Fagoa, Mr. Sando, Mr. Jeru. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you. I am devastated to say the least. I'm devastated to say the least. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we got here. So my family is grieving. I want to thank the Liberian people, all of the well wishers people that have been calling me from all over, calling my family members and wishing us well. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you all. Thank you so much. Um, it's helping to lift our spirits because we are devastated.
What's the status right now? We've been watching the video on Spoon, and we saw your mom. She entered Central Police. What's the status right now of your mother and the family?
Well, I don't know the details of everything because I'm not there. But as of now, I believe they have charged them. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a lay person. I'm just the daughter of Gloria. So I don't know the details of the ins and outs of the case.
Have you spoken to your mom?
No, I have not.
Is she? You
Yeah.
don't know whether she stayed at Central or whether she left?
Yes, I as of now I do not know. I have not spoken.
Ha- have you spoken to any of your family members? Have they given you any updates?
My family is chaotic right now because, everyone's running helter skelter, trying to, like I said, we're in a lot of pain, we're devastated, so it's hard to reach anyone back home.
Dr. Richardson?
So sorry to hear about your family and your mother situation today.
Thank
Um,
you.
it- I'm just sad to just hear about the whole situation. But can you just tell us? I heard your brother speak about how loving your mother was to your family members. At one time, there were 10 persons, he said, living in your home. Can you just tell us about the nature of your mom and her relationship she had with Shallow?
Oh yes, sure. My mother, most people don't know this, but she's a raw country woman. She comes from Maryland. She's very patriotic, and she's always telling us about, our people in Maryland, about Calocan, how Calocan was a relative of ours that was, invented the town. She tells us about the Gettable chiefdom. We all have country names. My name, I know this CEO is calling me Joe May, but my name is actually Joe Mande. It's a, yeah. But she didn't grow up with much. So when she fought and went to school, she came to her mother brought her to Monrovia, and she stayed with my father and my father and his wife, my step grandmother. That's how she was raised, and she went to school. So my mom always reached back to help others because she didn't grow up with much. So she feel like if she has made it, it is her duty to reach back and help others. So growing up, the house was always full. It was always full. It was always full. There was always so many family members, and we so many great memories I have growing up in Liberia, and that's just who she is. That's just who she is. She has reached back and helped so many family members.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Fagon.
Well, Jamade, I'm sorry for what is going on with your family. Some time ago, you and I had discussions, not once, twice, or just on a couple other things. And like I said, I'm sorry. You saw how we went after the government. And I know in my heart, I don't want to speculate, but I know what's going on. And I can tell anybody what I know is this government's trying to do. If they couldn't win the drug case, it's just a waste of time. And at the end of the day, they will say not guilty. And then they say, okay, we're still looking for the murderer. By then, as it is, nobody knows where Vanny Teller is. So I'm going to digress. I'm going to open the Liberian people eye to something, if you don't mind. You are at liberty to answer it. You can refuse to answer it. Lone Star sued a gentleman in London. Their company was hacked. And oh, Jumade is gone.
No, I'm sorry.
She's here.
I'm here.
She's here.
Okay.
Yes, I apologize.
That gentleman was arrested by the British government. The trial began, and your mother was sent for as an expert witness in that case from Liberia. Lone Star went on to win the case, and the gentleman was sentenced to, I think, 32 months imprisonment. But Lone Star got a very huge settlement. I'm bringing Benin Adira in and the Liberian government from other sides. And by the time they went looking for documents in her car, continuing to pursue her, some of us who knew what was happening with respect to this big case started asking, are they going after her because of the documents or because she's defending the opposition parties? Then I got to learn that you were on that trip with your mom. Tell me what happened on that trip with your mother to London, as far as you can go, please.
Sure. So we, my family, we all met in London. I don't know the details of the case, but it was the holiday season and I hadn't seen her for so long. So it was a way for us to come together, you know, and spend the holidays together. So basically that's what we did in London. We went sightseeing, looking at the lights, checking out the different historical sites, you know. We cooked, I made fufu and soup the best way I could using the British people then ingredients. It wasn't the same, but you know, it came out some kind of way and we ate it. So, you know, it was just a time for us to be together. We didn't get into what she was doing. It was just us being with our mother, you know, and creating memories.
Okay, I know you don't want to go into the case, but you heard what happened afterwards. What happened afterwards?
Yes. What happened afterwards as far as
the gentleman going to jail, the whatsoever, your mother was an expert witness. What you know?
Yes, she was an expert witness on the case, and I believe the case was won. Yes, that I do know. The case was won.
And do you know how long the gentleman went to jail for?
No, I do not know the details of the case. I don't get into the details of her cases, you know. She's not.
Do you think
she's a mother? So I'm not asking her about law and stuff like that.
But there was a point where it was speculated that the documents to that case was what the government was seeking after. Would you be alarmed at the fact that, because your mother said on tape, I'm not into politics, I'm not running, why are you people after me? You went to my house the first time, you took the documents, you look in the car, you look for documents. The second time you broke in again. Do you think this could be tied to the case in London?
I don't want to speculate, Mr. Fagon, but I will say we were in London and she was on a case as an expert witness in London, and the case, she did help them win the case. The case was won. Those are the facts that I know.
And the case involved the Lone Star from Liberia and that of the hacker, right?
That is correct.
Okay. It is believed that the hacker was working for Orange, but we'll go into my second question. There were times when the sedition said, oh, because the woman, they said Gloria Scott did not have a daughter. In fact, when I talked to you, I'm like, you look like your mother. Even your brother looked like your mother. You guys look identical.
Yeah.
Where did these people come from to say this woman never gave birth to children? When you heard that your mother did not have children of her own, what came to your mind?
Mr. Fagon, I cannot begin to tell you how painful this is. You know, I see so much on social media. People who don't even know us, they are saying the worst things about us. You know, somebody that I follow and I admire, a young Liberian lady, you know, I follow her and she posted today, oh, she knew that my mother did it and the daughter, me, conspire with her. Me and her have never sat down, talk or anything, you know, so I'm seeing all these nasty things on social media. It is really hurtful to hear those things. It really is, because people are just spewing so much. There's so much rumors going around and people are believing it, and it's not true. It's not true. You know, you're playing with our lives. You're playing with my mother's life. It's really hurtful.
Last question. Do you think your mother is capable? Because, and let me give you a quick premise. You can't raise a child from small. Send the child to high school. Send the child to college. The child on just 1 or 2 months to graduate. And then you kill the child. Do you think your mother is capable of even doing that?
Never. Because if I go on the atmosphere in our house, we have not fought. We don't fight. We've never fought. I'm not saying we're a perfect family, but for us to hit on each other and stuff like that has never, I don't have no memory of that. That has never happened. That is not the kind of home I grew up in. Not at all. She is not capable of harming Chalo, and neither is any one of those of my family members. Never.
Thank you.
Never.
Thank you
Do you
very
miss your
much. Thank you,
sister,
Minister
Chalo?
Fagon. Let me bring in Gibson. Gibson, can you come in?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mr. Gibson.
I know this girl. I remember when she was in the back of the car and the mother and I went to a supermarket on Center Street. I did a contract for her and she was trying to pay me. She was trying to buy groceries. So I know you very well, you and your brother. Yeah, so I mean, I feel for you because especially when your cousin, I think your cousin, right? Your cousin died, and then in the face of that, and they said it is your mother who killed your cousin, knowing your mother who she is, everything put together. Now you have to deal with new reality. I feel for you. And I want to say we identify with you, we're praying for you, and let God take control. That's all my question.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gibson. Daniel?
How you doing, man?
Oh, Daniel, I've lost my mind today, but I'm holding up.
Yes. You have to be strong. I know these are difficult moments for your family. I come to know your mother over the last 1 year or so when she volunteered to provide pro bono legal services. On the onset of the intra-party conflict in the Liberty Party. And from the moment I got introduced to her, I've heard her name as a public figure, former Chief Justice, former Minister of Justice, but close interaction for the last 1 year or so. And I've known her to be somebody who is very straightforward, very amicable. It's unfortunate that your family union will be torn apart by the kind of embarrassing social media posting you talk about, the kind of negative news that people have decided to spree out since the terrible incident that happened in February. It is sad for our country. You have to be strong. But I just want to say for the record that following the death of Chado, I know the family has been deeply engaged with the police. But following the death of Chalo, do you have any information to your disposal that the police, apart from what they put outside, because I know there was some communication missed by the police from the beginning of the process. But as it stands right now, do you know what the police is saying to your mother?
No, because I'm not there. I don't know, all the inner workings of this case, even if they presented the document to me, I wouldn't be able to read it and understand it. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what the police have presented to her. Like I said, someone asked me earlier if I have spoken to family members. I haven't even been able to speak to them because things are so crazy right now, So I haven't been able to speak to my family, to my mom. So you can imagine the mental anguish that I'm going through.
Thank you very much. Let's bring in Al Hussein. Just one question. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sando. Yeah, Al Hussein, and then we'll finish our council. We got to bring back Minister Kamara. Al Hussein, do you have a comment or question?
Well, there's one of the cases that I refrain from really speaking on, but I have a couple. I could just ask one or two questions. I've listened to you. Someone sent me a couple of months ago. Someone sent me a podcast and you made reference to the same case. Are you trying to be very careful now that you don't want to speak on the case because of where he has gone? Because I saw, I think, 1 or 2 videos. I really didn't go into detail. But do you fear something right now at the moment for which you are trying to be apprehensive or trying not to go too much into the case?
Well, I don't know the details of the case. What I do know as facts is that, yes, we were in London. My mom was working on this case as an expert lawyer, expert witness. That's what they brought her in concerning Liberian law, as an expert on Liberian law. And the case was won. Those are the facts that I know. So anything other than that, I won't be able to tell you in details because I wasn't on the case. I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot go further into that. But being concerned, I am concerned for my mom. I'm very much concerned for her.
What I'm saying
Very
is,
much so. I'm concerned for her safety.
when I listen to the video, insinuation that he was a police because of something she may have done or something connecting to that case. That thing, I think that's what I heard in the podcast when the one that I listened to you speaking of.
I'm sorry. Please repeat that.
So you made a
Mr. Fadiga.
podcast in which you said that part of the reason they were after your mom was because of that case.
So I said that we were there in December, and then after that, the attacks started happening. Was what I was saying. Yeah, I'm not saying that that's directly what happened, but those are the facts. We were there in December. We came back, and then this attack started happening on our home.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Let me bring in Councilor. Yeah, only one question, sir. We're against time now. We got to bring. Go ahead. Ask the last question, Fadiga. Go ahead. Finish up.
Who is she?
You're breaking up, Mr. Fadiga.
Answer for Charlotte. Or who is she?
Okay.
Who is
Oh, yes. So Chalo is my little sister. She might not be my mother's biological child, but Chalo's been living with my mom since as a girl. As a girl, she's been raising Chalo. Chalo went to some of the best of schools. Chalo is very hardworking. Chalo is very hardworking. She was very respectful, very respectful. Chalo was very kind. Always smiling, always smiling. Every time I'm in Liberia, I'm with Chalo, I'm with Tema, I'm with Sayo. Those are my cousins, those are my riders, those are who, when I'm there, they're all around me all the time. So we are grieving. We are grieving. We miss Chalo dearly. It's a total loss for our family because Chalo was just about to graduate. She had brought her graduation papers home. We were all excited, looking forward to the graduation, to come and celebrate in December.
Thank you very much. Councilor Lamy?
I don't have a question, but I would say something that, someone doesn't just become a murderer overnight. So I used to live on 15th Street. In fact, I grew up on 15th Street in Cinco on the Tottenham Boulevard. And I know Councilor Scott's residence because as a young man, we used to hang around the area. There were always a lot of girls there. So, we have friends. I have friends in the area. Stop smiling. It's not anything like you thinking, my man. So,
who told the other man?
No, I saw Hussein smiling. You think I'm talking to me dirty.
Stay on the councilor lane, please. Don't go contrary to.
Yeah. So, somebody doesn't become a murderer overnight. All the way back in the 1990s. There were all those girls in our yard that used to live there. And just like she said, I don't ever remember, hearing fights amongst them or stuff like that. So those things do not happen overnight. Maybe the government knows something that they're not telling us. They will probably, they will not even probably, they will have to review their hand eventually for people to know what they have and what they're basing their actions on. So I will just stop at that, and not really further this issue.
Thank you very much. So I want to say to you, Jemade, that it is important. The government will be having the press conference tomorrow through the Liberia National Police. all those reporters would be there. They would be present. They will go live with the press conference. We understand this is a very tough time for you and your family, but we pray to God that God can strengthen you, strengthen Madam Scott, strengthen the entire family. Whatever the situation is or how it will end, God knows everything. We present your family to the care of God, and we pray that we give the government chance. They filed the lawsuit. Somebody just sent me something and say they filed a writ of habeas corpus in the court. They do believe that the deal to release your mother, perhaps the government have had a change of mind or change of heart. So I am not a lawyer. We will watch this case. We'll monitor this case, and we'll be on top of this case. The government probably have the reason, and we'll wait. We will not be judgmental because we don't want to be on the wrong side. We all entitled to our opinions, but we wish your family well, Germany. Again, like I said, when you called me today, oh, she went off. When you called me today, Peter Muson, your brother and myself, we did our nursing program together. A good friend of mine. He knows me very well. I know his wife and his family. I know your mother very well because she worked along with my father, Councilor Witherspoon. It is why it is.
Yeah.
And we give the Lord a chance.
Yeah. And what you don't, Mr. Witherspoon, what you don't know about my Uncle Peter is just like Chalo, my Uncle Peter grew up in a village in Maryland. My mother went back to Maryland and brought Uncle Peter to Monrovia. And Uncle Peter is a doctor today. Yes. That's just who she is. That's just who she is.
Yeah. I trust me.
She's not a murderer.
We have a story. If you ask me if I know her, I do. Because I know the assistance I received from her while serving as presiding officer for the election that Chastity won when she visited Sano County while we were there. That's a long story. So, but we wish the family well, and we will be on top of this story. We wish you well as well. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me on.
And you're always welcome.
Thank you.
You are always welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson, right. Minister Fagon, Mr. Gibson, Mr. Fadiga, Councilor Kwagoyo. Thank you. You have a good evening.
Be strong.
Yeah, make sure you talk it out.
Okay. I might need your services, Dr. Richardson.
Call me.
Thank you so much.
Free of charge.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We'll be bringing Minister Kamara back on set to take a couple of questions, and we'll do our closing. Tonight, we will leave from here at 7 p.m. If I don't want to hold us a minute after 7, thank God he's starting his show tomorrow. We will have to have a talk on that one. But we'll leave from here at 7 p.m. exact.
According to OKFM, the police spokesman is saying the police have not officially charged this lady with murder. There's no charge yet.
But what we have, gone,
yes,
a rate of habeas corpus. So we're gonna exactly.
The rate of habeas corpus is now a charge. It's a remedial rate that is meant to get someone to be brought before a court if the person is being illegally. So that's the purpose of that rate. Yeah. So if somebody is held in custody illegally or detention illegally, the person's lawyers can file. The person themselves even can file. It's one of the most powerful rates you can have. They can file that rate, and any circuit judge, regardless of which part of the country that circuit judge is in, that person has to hear that rate. So I don't know really why the rate of habeas corpus was filed, because I understand it just got in today. They got into the police
councilor. Another councilor is asking the same question, but I'm asking that councilor to join us tomorrow, that we can have that wonderful conversation. You are right. They're sending me messages and say they really want to know why they filed that rate. And but let's wait for the press conference tomorrow.
Yeah, because the government won't hide behind the 48 hours thing.
Yeah, let me give minister. Guys. We gotta leave from here. We gotta leave from here 7 o'clock, please. We'll wait tomorrow and we will have this conversation. Councilor, please bear with us. Hold your peace. I beg you. Minister Kamara, you just heard from the daughter of Gloria Scott. You followed the story today from the Library of National Police. Can you talk to us before we go to the phone line, please?
Thank you, and I just want to extend my deepest sympathy to her honor, Gloria Scott, and the family. Our prayers are with you. Our thoughts are with you all as you go through this period. And whatever the case is, my people, Liberia, we must come to a place of true love one for another. And in these moments, we can say, may the Lord strengthen you and bless you and your family. We say shalom.
Thank you very much. We'll be going to the phone line. Thank you very much for joining us, Aaron Kuban. Thank you very, very much. We'll be going to the phone line right now to take some questions. And we ask every one of you, please, Aaron, put up the same WhatsApp number. Those that may be calling from the international line can call. This is a wonderful, interesting program. If you have my number out there, you want to participate on the show, call my cell phone. I will bring you in likewise. Again, we have Minister Boyman S. Kamara, former finance minister, on the program tonight. Go ahead, take some calls. Aaron Kuban, open the phone line, please.
Okay, the numbers are 0776. That's a 0777-771-075 or 080 05101075. 0777-771-075 0555101075. Let me take this person here. Welcome.
Well, thank you, and this is Samuel Moore, member of JND Media Warrior Correspondent.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kamara, for your brilliant presentation. Well, I didn't hear much about the debt issue. As you know, the government borrowed for $1 billion debt money. And we cannot see the development of that money. We cannot match debt with development, with the road, or whatever that is useful. So I want you to throw more light on the issue of the debt. On the Manasari, we saw 800 million you got left. Today, we got 1.2 billion in our borrow. We want to know the value for the debt, the value for our money.
So thank you. I got a call over here, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Jackson P.S. I'm the second line call from Gardner here. And I want to use this time to say thank you to my senior brother, Bama S. Kamara, my senior brother, my former instructor, and my professional colleagues when you were at the university. I have a concern. I listened to but my concern has to do with the money that they authorized the government to print. I think for the very first time, we've known that almost 49 billion, was authorized to be printed. And I want you to tell me whether it was right at this time or the Liberian economy has the capacity to contain such an amount of money, considering that the economy is import driven, which means that since we use the US dollar, we use everything. Everything we consume in this country, we get it from out and we use it the US dollar. So you always see the Liberian dollar, huge amount of Liberian dollar chasing the US dollar. And so there's excess demand for US dollar and there's excess supply of Liberian dollar on the market, which of course I believe is contributing to the inflationary problem. But was it a right decision for them to print such an amount of money, considering the fact that the economy is import driven? My second concern is, now that they have brought the money, this is the very first time. Normally, when you say you're changing money, what you do is you remove you give a period of time, or 2 or 3, giving the people the chance to carry all the old money to the bank, and then subsequently get rid of the old one and begin to use the new one. But this time around, Sunday boy, Madam Sari printed some money. We are himself when he came, he printed some money, and subsequently they reduced it. And so we have multiplicity of currency, different colors, different sizes, and all of that. And up to now, we use it.
So can we move to the next quarter?
How does it affect the economy?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me bring in. I'm gonna take 2 back here. Aaron, hold on 1 minute. Jackson, Mr. Satan, can you go ahead?
Well,
thank you very much, Mr. Witherspoon. My name is Jackson Seaton. Am I on, sir?
Yes, you are. Can you just get from the noise, please? Somebody cooking in your back, probably.
Yes, okay. Yes, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Am I on?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Jackson T.F. Seaton, former news editor of the Inquirer newspaper. I'm calling from the state of Delaware. And my question is to Minister Kamara. First and foremost, Minister Kamara, thank you for your service to Liberia. But during your analysis, you alluded to the fact that of all of the budgetary appropriation that was made in both the city and the WEA government, there was not significant investment in critical need areas like health, education, and yes.
Agriculture.
Can you now tell us why is it that the vast majority of government money goes to government overhead? I remember when Minister Amara Kone, when he was Minister of Finance, he made a statement saying that instead of all of the money and all of the budgetary allocation that government is making, 75% of that amount went to government overhead, and he was beat upon for that. Now, can you tell the Liberian people why is it that instead of government investing in critical needs areas, they continue to spend a whole lot of money on themselves rather than the people?
Thank you very much. We're going to take one more from my end, and then we're going to go back to Minister Kamara to answer some of these questions before we go to the line. I have Councillor Toba Yenswai. Councillor Toba Yenswai, you're live.
Thank you, Stanton. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir. You are live. The minister is hearing you.
I want to thank Minister Wema Kamara for the great explanation and rallying professional and technical Liberians to come on board to save our country. I think it's a very good call. Wema, thank you very much for your service. But I will give a tale of two finance ministers. I'm one of the privileged few who work with both Wema Kamara and Minister Samuel Twe. I worked with Minister Samuel Twe for 22 months and worked with Wema Kamara for the number of months that he spoke about. I will give you a story of the tale of two finance ministers. One that is very far-sighted, Mr. Kamara, who took his time and invested money, government Liberia's money, in an institution that we stood up called the National Public Health Institute, where we needed money to secure the land, build out the institution, establish the institution, and we went to Wema Kamara crying for money to match the money that the international partners were bringing to the country. And he saw it very fast-sighted, made $1 million available to start up the Public Health Institute that was used during the COVID-19 crisis and the laboratory that Liberia used to diagnose COVID and fight the virus when we didn't have that facility during the Ebola crisis when it devastated our country. And Mr. Wema Kamara made a pledge to the U.S. government of $3 million that the government of Liberia will put forth if the U.S. government made $40 million available to build a national public health reference laboratory that you see in Congo Tana will be constructed. But in the last 3 years, I understand that project is at a standstill right now. Let's look at the tale of the other minister who came to power and cut all of the laboratory technicians, the director of public health laboratory technicians that we trained over the years. And most of them, some of them resigned from that institution. I told Minister Tue and Minister Magay to the National Reference Lab before I even resigned, that look at these millions and millions of dollar equipment our donors are bringing in this country. If you don't pay these people well, we run into crisis and we'll have a problem. So that's the tale of two finance ministers. And Mr. Bwana Kamara, congratulations. Those are the people we need for our country, for human capital development in our country that puts education to work, put water in the people's systems, give them lights, give them health care, and develop our country. And we are with you anytime, call of us to give the support that we need for our country to build the technical reservoir that Liberia needs. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Yensua. We appreciate you for the response tonight. Thank you. We're going to pause for a minute and go back to Minister Kamara if you want to address some of those questions or comment. And we're going to go round 2 of questioning. Then from there, we're going to just bid you good night. Talk to us, Minister Kamara, please.
Thank you, and thanks to all of our brothers and sisters back home in Liberia. Justin, thank you for your comment. On the issue of debt, throwing some light. This is the story of our debt. Prior to Madam Salif's administration, she inherited a system that was actually really more than beyond infrastructural damaged. We had no electricity in terms of the structure. The McComfrey Dam had been damaged. She had to fix it. She inherited salaries that predates her to Taylor and Judy Bryan that she had to pay out and bring everybody current. Madam Salif had to ensure that something that threatens the stability of Liberia, that was owing AFS soldiers. She had to make sure that those issues were addressed. Madam Salif was confronted with issue of roads. You can imagine in 2006, when we were walking in Tottenham Boulevard, you will know that the road condition was bad. Driving from Oro, driving from Morovia to Ganta, driving from Morovia to Buchanan. We all saw what it was. So she took on the Herculean task of assembling the brightest of Liberians, and even had to bring some of our brethren from the diaspora. And there's a lesson I learned during these 5 years outside of Liberia. The time has come that we must learn to respect the people we have in the diaspora. They have a lot to contribute, and we should recognize them for that. And this is our tale of the budget. Of the desktop. So where we came from 2006 to 2010, Liberia reached HIPAA completion point in June of 2010. And that came through painful commitment to transparency and accountability. And Liberia almost $4-something billion debt was waived, thanks to Minister Gaffwan. He led the charge that completed us reaching HIPAA completion point. It was ending what Minister Syed did. So thanks to all of them. That's what we need to start doing, to recognize people when they serve well. So Liberia's debt came from over 5 billion down to around 503.7 million in 2010, of which external debt was 222 million and domestic constituted 280 million. But in this 280 million, I'm pleased, I must say, there is a legacy component, and that legacy component predates Madam Salif went as far back as those regime that we had a legacy debt hanging on the Central Bank of Liberia that kept on the balance sheet. So in this 280 million in 2010, almost 200 was accounted for by the Central Bank, government's obligation to the Central Bank. And what did that do? It had to be this way because the IMF argued, government, you either choose to pay that debt or it is left on the book and you pay some interest to sustain the life of the central bank. When you give birth to a child, you have to support that child. So you either fully capitalize the central bank or you keep the debt. And that's why that debt remains as a legacy issue hanging on. So between 2010 and 2017, Liberia's total public debt, that means the debt increased to 1.13 billion United States dollar. That means an increase of somewhere close to around 600 million. That's the story of the Salif's administration. And those debt, the external component of the 1.13 billion, 736 million was external debt. And in that external debt, we talk about all of the issues regarding the Ganta, the Morovia to Ganta, Morovia to Buchanan. So you can see on what this debt contributed to. Part of the rehabilitation of the Mount Coffee Dam, they are all part of it. Reforms that took place that gave independence, especially to anti-graft institutions, so public sector reforms, they were all part of this. Now let's see what happened. What is the story after 2017? Domestic debt of that 1.1 billion, domestic debt is 398. So that's the story of the debt situation. So debt increased by up to 600 plus million. That's the increase that took us from 503 million to 1.1 billion in 2017. Now, just between 2017 and 2018, moving from Salif to President Weah, the debt still increased from 1.1 to 1.2 billion. External component increased from 736 to 847, and domestic from 398, slightly reduced to 393. But the bigger picture is that the debt increased between 2017 ending to 2018 ending. And between 2018 ending to now, the debt stock has increased from 1.2 billion to 2.3 billion, an increase of almost 1.1 billion. So you were right to ask, on what can we see for 1.3 billion increase in the debt? So we'll hold them the National Legislature. You were the one ratifying this debt. We have to hold the executive. You were the one passing the debt onto the legislature for ratification. So the question is, on what have we spent an increase of 1.1 billion? Was it on growth enhancing projects? So if it is on road, let's see the road. So the argument in terms of who got financing is not financing, is who just got the job done. So Madam Salif, you can see from Morovia to Buchanan. You can see from Morovia to Nimba. So can we see in 1.1 billion on what? So somebody has to explain. So we'll hold the government, we'll hold the legislature. Please explain to the Liberian people. That's the story on debt. The story on budgetary allocation, I come back again. So the call for the need for the social contract is ever compelling than ever before. Why in 5.5 years, the legislature, through what we call the policy area, the office of the speaker, the office of the pro tem, in 5.5 years under this administration, President Weah, the office of the pro tem receives 10.6 million. The House of Senate takes 103 million. The office of the speaker, you take in almost 10 million. The office of the deputy speaker, you also take in almost 8 million. And the House of Representatives, the people's representative, you take in 179.5 million. The total of the 3.5 billion the legislature has accounted for, they have taken 307.4 million. When in fact, the University of Liberia in 6 years has only received around 96 million. A critical institution of human capacity development, we treat as a step shy. Agriculture, the same picture. Agriculture cannot boast of anything close to 20 million in 5.5 years. The same picture under President Salif. The same picture for health. Now I serve currently as the health financing advisor for the African Union Center for Disease Control, the Health Economic Program. One of the protocols to which Liberia is a signatory, that the health care expenditure as a share of our national budget should increase to 15%. But I must tell you, my fellow Liberians, from Madam Salif to President Weah, the healthcare expenditure as a share of the national budget has never crossed 0.5%, not to say 1%. When will we get closer to even say 5%, not to speak about 15%? That's why, Brother Fagon, When you hear me saying the issue goes beyond an individual, it's a national problem in terms of how we prioritize spending as a nation, and it has to change. The office of the vice president receiving 16.14 million. The same picture. So where are we going with this? It has to change. And my brother, Minister Tua, yesterday in his presentation, in referencing the analysis that has to do with real per capita GDP versus poverty. This is the summary I gave. There is an inverse relationship between real per capita GDP and poverty. When you do well as a country and your real GDP grows, your population size, which is the base, is then changing. The real component is increasing. That means, how does that even translate into the well-being is another question. So it's not just in the nomenclature, real per capita GDP is rising. Obviously, there will be that inverse relationship. So if real GDP is falling, that graph Minister Tua was attempting to show, you will see that poverty, the rate of poverty will decline. But when GDP reduces, the rate of poverty increases. That's just economics. That's just nothing but theory. But in the applied, as real per capita GDP is increasing, the question is, does that translate into the economic well-being of the Liberian people? Do our people, when they go to JFK, do they have sufficient medicine? Or they got to go across the road to Lucky Pharmacy to say, we don't have drugs, go across and you buy your own medicine. So out-of-pocket expense on healthcare, it has to change. In our country or the member countries, just in Africa, not to talk about US and Europe, the universal healthcare is a primary issue. How do they live for? People who have worked their whole lives, the seniors in our country, you see people on the street begging, our mothers and our fathers begging. We have to now provision for in the budget for seniors. We have to now provision for people who gave their lives to the country and respect them. Former presidents. President, we are you a step out of office. My advocacy is that the budget must respecting people who serve country. There has to be that allowance. How are we taking care of former President Salif? How are we taking care of former President, Vice President Boyka? Tomorrow, President, we are you become a former. There has to be structure in place that must cater for you people. See America, Barack Obama. Think about the former president, they are around and they are still be respected. And by the country, by the revenue, they make provision for those people. Liberia, the time has come that we must rise up and be normal. There is something just wrong with our psyche. It has to change. And I will end on this note by quoting Dr. James Jones. This is credit to you, Mill Jones. This is what he says. As we are going into the 2023 election, he's writing a book on Liberia. The time has come that we must change our economic order from reliance on just export. And he's calling for breaking from the traditional growth model and reliance even on the IMF and World Bank. Liberia, the time has come. And he said, in the run-up to the country's 2023 general elections, political demands based on ethnicity ensconced behind the facade of political parties while tapping into grievances emanating from a weak economy that is low growth, high unemployment, and widespread poverty are beginning to gain credence as a path to political power. Also, candidates are increasingly being seen as sons or daughters of particular ethnic groups, while certain political actors proudly lay claim to the title of political godfather, godmother, with the capacity to commandeer the votes of the ethnic group as they see fit. In this environment, politics is no longer considered to be the art of the possible for the common good, but unabashedly is becoming the art simply securing larger portion of a low-growth economy. This does not bode well for a democracy that is in its nascent state, whose goal must be the development of a pluralistic body politics for reducing clientelism and corruption. It has been shown empirically that ethnic heterogeneity has negatively impacted economic growth and development in Africa. And that's a study done by Levan and Easterly in 1997. Liberia is listed in the study as one of the most ethnically fractionalized countries. We must return to this issue. And as a country, in Superior that we must rethink and prioritize spending for agriculture, for health. And that's why I'm calling on, especially on the legislature. I beg you, my brothers and sisters in the legislature, the time has come. Let's put the Liberian people at the center and work with the judiciary, work with the executive. These are tough times. So the social contract will give it to all of our people in all of these 15 counties. And I'm using this time just to ask, we want support. The Partnership for Sustainable Development of Liberia is a group that I'm part of. We are Liberians, and we're doing research evidence-based, one of which happens to be now this holistic picture of the national budget, how we have governed in terms of management. So on this note, Mr. Peabody and the brethren on the panel, Liberia, the time has come. With God above and our rights to prove, we will overall prevail. I thank you. Shalom and praise be to God who has given me this opportunity to do what we are doing. And the rallying call now, I say, all Liberians, let's rally around Mother Liberia. It is time that we rise again. Yes, Liberia shall rise. Liberia shall rise. Liberia shall rise to the honor and glory of the Almighty God, on whom we depend. And I will close by saying to our leaders, the time has come that we must turn around and seek the face of the Almighty God and depend on him on the following. Isaiah 11 verses 1-5. I will encourage all of you to read. We need the spirits of God. That is the spirit of his lordship, the spirit of his knowledge, the spirit of his understanding, the spirit of his wisdom, the spirit of his counsel, the spirit of his might, and the spirit of the fear of the Lord. Where there is fear of the Lord, the people prosper. Shalom.
And as I said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So we want to say thank you very much, Minister Boyman S. Kabara. You are always welcome. And thanks for making of sound, giving the Liberian people that elevation in our mindset as we move closer to election. We bless you and we bless your household. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, sir. All right, that's former Finance Minister Boyman S. Kamara, a wonderful, wonderful gentleman. Let's do the closing. And I will not just do this closing today without me saying my piece. Yeah. Somebody says, Stanton, but yeah, people send a message. Well, Stanton, this guy is so powerful. Can you bring him back? We'll talk to him to bring him back again. Not that I agree with him about Samuel 12 issue, though. But you know why? Everybody have piece of the pie. You know, he blamed every part of the government. But to each his own. Yeah.
Oh, God.
D12 is D12. You know, it is why it is. Let's move on. I listen, man, if I go, leave me alone. Let me just see my thing. I mean, sometimes I get tired talking about Samuel 12 because from one thing to another, it becomes to be immune in your ears. The lies will just increase. The lies will be just increase. It is why it is, but we say thanks. Let me say this real quick. While we move on. This is what happened today in Fagon. This thing is crazy though. What am I posting here? Fagon, can you help us?
You are posting.
Go ahead, Fagon.
You are posting the agenda of the Liberian Senate today that could not be exhausted because of what you heard from Senator Dillon here the other day. That far-sighted senators, I don't want to call them opposition senators.
Can you name them? Name them.
We got two from Bond County, Dr. Henry Tokpa and Prince Moy, Senator Prince Moy. You got two from Nimba, Senator Prince Johnson, Senator Jeremiah Kuhn. How many? And 4?
That's 4.
You got two from Basso, Senator Nyombi Kanga, Senator Jonathan Kaipe.
That's 6.
That's 6. You got one from Lofa, Senator Steve Zago. How much?
7.
You got one from Maserati, Senator Darius Dillon. How much?
8.
You got two from River G, Senator Komade Wisa and Senator Jonathan Borchas Segbe. How much?
10.
You got
10.
two from Bapolu, Senator Daniel Nyeten and Senator Bodo Kane.
12.
How much? You got one from Maryland, Senator James Barney.
18.
You got 2 from Riverside, Senator Francis Pay and Senator Wellington G. Von Smith. How much?
You got 15.
You got a possible one from Magibi, and that is Senator Tonola.
Okay, but we're on 15. We're on 15. They got 15 today.
Okay.
Yeah, so proceed.
So for this now, you had an agenda on the House floor that literally said on the Senate floor that, oh, we got to confirm the man from LACC. We got to bring, okay, let's start with, was it EFGH, right? You can see it on your
but we
screen.
get enough time. We get enough time. Let's go through it.
Okay, but they had several confirmations. They had several tools there to work with and several financial instruments and what have you. And those guys said, the Liberian people have beaten us enough. We have 15 people. And they all came together and agreed. No more, they said. Never ever will President Weah have his way. The will of the Liberian people will be done. And Stanton, I can inform you what happened today. We should know. Imagine Edwin Snow, some other people, then they go to work today. And the guy said, anything that come on this floor, we are confident we can get the vote. Nothing will pass here.
Let me hold you.
It's not supposed to pass.
Let me hold you while we do our closing. Fadiga, I want you to listen to this one and listen well, my brother. Number 7A. Communication from the President of the Republic of Liberia submitting nominees for confirmation consideration to the LACC. To the LACC. Listen, I've asked the guys to put this on our page. Those senators said no to President George Manawea. They said no. You remember when we were having an argument that Richie saying that the LACC, what are you guys going to confirm them? This a lame dog session. They say anything that called for confirmation, they were chopping. And then I asked the question, but where is Aboche? What's happening with the pro tem? The pro tem received one of his biggest embarrassment as he represents CDC. But what we do our closing, folks, we'll be here again tomorrow. What the Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence, DeLon Borchard, and every one of them, Jeremiah the 10, have started. Wow, I am surprised. We'll be here again tomorrow. We'll talk about this thing because it's the best thing ever in the history of Liberia. Under a lame duck session, a lame duck government, there should be no confirmation. Liberia should reject it. Why are you forcing LDCC people in? Who you want to cover up for, Mr. President? Then when I go to all these people telling the president, say, shut down Spoon. You look at me. Spoon giving me 5 cents. I care you shut down Spoon on that. You're taking Spoon from the Liberian people. Spoon is not on the ballot though. So if they come to you, they say shut down Spoon. Then they say for a while the man already get his lesson from LTA and information. Why are you going after them? Oh, because the man say they will not confirm my people. The man say I get 10. 10 a bird. Don't get bad when somebody say you get 10. 10 a bird in the tree. The small little bird we used to kill with rubber gun. You get 10, Mr. President. You know what's up. Baby Tatiakwa, you get 10. Let go. Okay? When the president here, you didn't hear it. But
I beg you, man. You just want me to tell the president audio.
The thing here and then we go get 10, they say you get 10. Mr. President, you know why? Listen, the election season, do what you want to do. We have spoken to the Liberian people. It's up to you. It's up to the Liberian people. We're moving. We will stay have Spoon Talk once there's a Facebook. The people will listen to us. All right. These are the things we're talking about. We have Amara, we have Boema Kamara on the show, and he laid it out. That's the truth. That's the fact. Me, I'm not afraid. I will continue to talk to my Liberian people every which way because the government will not buy us. We refused the offer before and we refuse it again because we tell the Liberian people the truth, nothing but the truth. So help us, oh God. May God bless our nation as we close the program for tonight. And we'll be back tomorrow with the motorcyclists and all the union association, and we'll be discussing them tomorrow. And Fagon starting his program tomorrow. I hope Fadika, you ready to spy on Jerome, you ready to spy on that program. I don't know how it will be tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time.
He should
That
be
will be
inviting us
from
to come on our show.
the message will never invite you. That would be from 1 p.m. to 5. Fago, what's the time in Liberia? The time of your show, my man. Get the announcement. We gotta go.
We'll be on in Liberia from 3 to 5, and
3 to
people will
5.
tune into reliable sources.
Oh, that's your show name? Wow. That Richardson, you are muted. That's your show name? Reliable sources?
Reliable sources.
Wow.
For example, you can't come up and say that the president cannot do an executive order for this. That's why I put about 4 in the chat room. Yes, the president can make an executive orders, and under the Congress or the Parliament can what?
I mean, we're talking about your reliable sources show. Leave
So my
that one.
reliable
But
sources will be very reliable.
Okay, so Fadiga, you hear your man. The man said reliable sources. Yeah, but you finish closing. Fadiga, go ahead.
No, I got something very important to close.
Hold on now, you're close. Hold on.
Because when my man Lamine.
Let me go on. Let me have. He has to run.
We put all the
Let
things
me.
in the room. Let me give it a post. But we're gonna make president can make a executive order, but it's left.
Well, Fago, let your man close that bad. This is not reliable source.
The thing is, man,
you will be picking for our tape now, our cassette.
I'll never pay for your show.
One thing I wanted to ask the former finance minister, I forgot, was the currency. I don't know why Liberia is still using the US dollar in that country. If they don't get rid, I've traveled to other African countries, and I'm not I got no knowledge on finance. I know one thing that I've observed in all the other African countries around us. They use their currency, the local currency. And I think there is something unique about it, and I think it's helping the economy. I just think the US dollar is killing us. Somebody explained it the other time why it's difficult, or people have to go, small businesses have to purchase the US dollar. And somebody was trying to make sense of it already. But that's why I wanted to ask you, if you're listening, I really need an answer. Why is it so difficult? Why we keep using this US dollar? Because US dollar is just an easy money to steal out of that country. It's just an easy money. We saw when Doe changed the thing to the coin, people are forced to.
I mean, you said I had the man thought he left, then you bring US dollar conversation again.
I'm myself confused. I didn't know whether you were pushing or you were financing, so I was kind of confused there.
I won't have you tell my relative like that.
Fadiga la bad dude.
Confused me a little bit after that.
I will not have you talking about my relative like that.
Think about it. Yeah, but yeah, I really need a definite answer. Why is it so hard? Why we can get rid of that thing? We need to get rid of that's the only thing too we need to do. But I will close on this. Hopefully we'll be there. Fago, I will listen to your show tomorrow. You say 11, that will be 10 p.m. my time, right?
Yeah.
11 a.m. US time.
That'll be 10 p.m. your time. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. your time.
I'll be on that just when I wake up from bed. So
yeah, but we are encouraging everybody to listen to Fagon's show. The first, it will be powerful. Yeah, and I suspect this, and maybe I'm wrong, folks. I think Fagon is going back to the government. I think Fagon going back to his root. We'll be playing that music, going back to my root. Yeah, information reaching me that the Rich is saying. Listen, after we give Fagon the start, reliable sources. After we give Fagon
you
that
took your medication today?
Yeah, I guess Seroquel and Xanax. After we give Fagon the information, right, that the Rich is saying, it is important for us to say, Gibson, I called the CEO. I said, Madam Titi, you sure you make the right decision? She said yes. I receive information. I will say it and everybody can get versed. Sedition reaching out to Fagon. They say, Stanton, your CEO made a mistake. Fagon is going back to his root. I said the Liberian people with George Fagon, if he's on the neutral side or he's on one side. But again, Liberian people, Fagon have his own show. He will be on Spoon Toggle, but you keep your eye open, clear. The thing I hear today is scare me. They say Fagon going back to his root. So I leave my own with God and I leave my own with you. Dr. Richardson, can you close?
So obviously it was a great show, very informative. And every evening when I come here and sit in the company of you men, I'm, just informed and enlightened. I was just actually proud also to have a relative of mine on the show presenting the economic successes and challenges of Liberia. I saw some of his characters reflected here, his love for Liberia, his understanding of fiscal austerity measures and its contribution to development, um, his innovative thinking to rebuild Liberia, his honesty, his tendency to lean towards anti corruption, and of course, his professionalism. So all of that seems to remind me of Mr. Cummings, but I know he said on this show that he supports uh, Mr. Buckeye. So I'm definitely having some conversation in the background about why is it that
You try to win him over?
your personality seems to, lean towards Mr. Cummings, and then here it is, you're telling us that you support Mr. Buckeye. It's not adding up. So we'll do that in the background, in our background talking. We'll come back. Yes, I agree with many of you. Two things, if I like to, give him a critique of his performance here today. Obviously, he's my family member, and I would do it as I would do it with guests. I think he should have spoken more to my mom Mary and my brother Cully. I think he was very much into his economist mindset. So next time he comes back, I mean, he did try to use the analogy between the $20 for the city of prosperity and the city of Liberia. I think that was a good acknowledgement. And secondly, I think that my other critique would have been to just tell us that who Twitter was responsible or who's responsible for our economic problems in our country. I think he danced around that subject a little bit. He didn't want to be very firm and also be direct about who is responsible for our economic woes right now. Today was a sad day for me, basically in two ways. One, the sadness of a justice system that we have in Liberia that tend to just not be effective. This Gloria Scott case exposed once again the inadequacy in our justice system. We saw from the beginning, and we've been following this case from the beginning, how there was a lot of stories about who is responsible for Shalul's death. There was a lot of missteps in the police investigation and the justice system. So to me, it saddens me that in the year 2023, we still have a justice system that is not functional. My thoughts and prayers go out to Gloria Scott, her daughter, her family. I pray for strength. I pray for peace for them. And if there's anything that I can do to support this family that's going through this very traumatic event, I'd be glad to do so. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Richardson. We appreciate you as always. We're going to go to our brother Gibson. Gibson, before I go to you, it will be important that I announce this real quick. One of our guests, Mr. Alari Tukpa. A lot of you know Mr. Alari Tukpa. His wife, Madam Annie, reached out to me to announce that he lost his brother, Mr. McGill Bellet. If you guys, for any reason, know Alari Tukpa, he was our guest. He's a very, 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 very nice gentleman. He lost his brother in his arm. His brother name is McGill Bellet. Please reach out to the family and we share our condolences. We wish the family well and strong. This thing happened yesterday. I would say this morning, information reaching us. Mr. Alaric Tukpa lost his brother Miguel Bellet right in his arm. And we wish the family strong and our sympathy to him and the entire family. To our sister Annie in Minnesota, we wish your entire family well and Godspeed. Again, have our sympathy on behalf of the Spoon Network. Thank you. Mr. Gibson, take us home, sir.
I know Larry Tuba very well. In fact, he's a Bella man and I'm a Crown man. We don't see each other blood. We are Dodi. We are two brothers. So I feel for him. My condolences, my family condolences to his. But Fagon, do you know that our name you chose is the newspaper Icon Reliable Sources in Morovia? I'm afraid that if you continue to make that name popular, everybody will think you work for newspaper or you are doing it on behalf of them. I would suggest other names, face of the nation. These are kind of names that will suit you. But Reliable Sources is carried by the newspaper. Has been there for the last since 1980.
Now I make a newspaper.
All right.
Nobody coming to lie. It will be Reliable Sources.
I'm just telling you, just so because in the media, when you don't know how to name your stuff, they can reflect on another media institution that started you before. Like right now, if I have a radio station or newspaper and I say Spoon Talk, more people will not understand what I'm talking about. They will refer to the old institution that I've been doing it before. I'm just telling you as a media person, but you don't have to do what I say. I just want to come back to the Moses Scotty. Like Stanton said, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. I think a lawyer is coming tomorrow, and I'm happy that a lawyer is coming tomorrow. This case, it looked kind of murky to me because the police has got to go arrest her capture. I don't know what they really have on her. Because I really want to see the kind of evidence that they have on her because for you to charge somebody with murder in this kind of case with all the police investigation, misinvestigation, misconduct, all kind of stuff that we heard about, it is amazing that they will bring charges and charge her with murder or whatever charge of conspiracy to murder or misstatement to police officer, which I think would be the actual charge they're going to charge her because that's what they accuse her of before. But tomorrow we'll see. Again, I'm sure Stephen, you're not here when I talk about the habeas corpus. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Me too. I don't know how the habeas corpus is going to lie because we have not reached 48 hours yet. The Constitution says within the 48 hours, if the person is not charged, then the party can bring a habeas corpus so that they can be released for illegal detention. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. We want to say thanks to all of our many followers. To Aaron Kuban, Dama Slanger, Madam Titi Kane, Business Manager Patricia Dapo, to the entire network, Spoon Super Fabric. We want to say thanks to all of our many listeners. Dito, Francine Chinua Richardson, we appreciate you and we say thank you for holding down the show today. Eugene Lamin Fagon, we look forward to your wonderful program starting tomorrow, 3 p.m. Liberian time to 5 p.m. Here in the United States, Eastern time would be 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Your time will be 10 a.m. in Minnesota to 1 p.m. likewise, 10 to 1 p.m. Yes, that will be 10 to 12 your time. So we want to say, please, tune in, get the best from the reliable sources, come by way of the network, Spoon Network. The Honorable Eugene Lamin Fagon will be on his first program. Eugene got a lineup of guests. I'm hearing Botokana, I'm hearing Darius DeLone, I'm hearing Rescue 2. That would be Jeremiah Kuhn. He was on the phone with Jeremiah Kuhn today. And the Honorable Lady Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence, my own dear Senator for Grand Bassa County. Eugene decided to take the guests from Spoon Talk and do all his tabata, but we will deal with him accordingly. I want to say, Fadika, thank God you finished with your business. I know very well you closed that deal. You were talking about money when I spoke to you. I'm not going to announce it, but we wish you well in your business, and we appreciate your time on the show tonight. To our brother Gibson, I will tell you this.
So we're not closing?
To our brother Gibson, I will tell you this. We closed him, my man. You were close last. I will tell you this before we close with Fagon, that Woozy is coming for you. That's just a joke. Fagon, go ahead. That's our chat room. I had to bring it out. Fagon, go ahead. You got to be grateful for Leo, right? Leo's a gentleman, hold it down. Go ahead, Fagon.
Well, I'll start by saying thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, Dr. Francine. Look, first thing here, when you go to school, you don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be a lawyer to be confused sometimes. You invite a person to the police station, and then the person says, oh, I'm sick, I will come. The person goes to the police station. You don't announce an arrest, meaning you didn't say you're arresting the person. Okay, fine. But then you hold the person at the police station, and you won't let the person go. Then you come by, you say the person have not been charged. Here are some easy things to ask, and I don't need to go to school for it. Did you arrest this woman? Yes or no? You are under obligation to announce to the country that this woman has been arrested and is undergoing interrogation. You announce. Everybody know that you have announced you not charged her yet. Since you have not charged her, why is she in your detention then? Too many questions. No answer. Clearly you can see, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say here now because I want to deal with this issue in my closing. I have great respect for Brother Boima Kamara. He came across as very spiritual. You hear cousin say you don't think he was clear about his fears. I want to tell Brother Boima Kamara, thank you for endorsing Joseph Numa Boakai. But when you come across as a man of God, then you have to understand the 23rd Psalm verse 4. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I want to remind him of Isaiah 41, 8-10 that says, do not fear, I am with you. You came here, you gave us education, we love you for it, but then you exhibited nothing but fear. And we on the train, if we have fear, you know who Madam Salif is, will not be behind JMB today. Because she's a very powerful woman. But to look at us and say Samuel Tuer did not allow you to even give a turnover note and brief him that Samuel Tuer was wrong for going in the road fund, that the 11 million for rice subsidy was wasted money, that harmonization was a mess, and that it broke the law, that somehow the debt has risen with nothing to show for it, that the new currency should be replacing the legacy note. And then, my brother, you educated us that as finance minister, you are the financial manager of the country. And then you look at us, you tell us to blame the entire government. When we try to push you that should Samuel Tuer even share a small portion, you said no, that your brother. I think you did yourself the greatest of service for which you should have been carried in the streets of Liberia. But then you threw it all into the garbage when everybody saw that your friendship with Tuer had risen beyond your national call to duty. We saw you as a patriot, and we still believe you are, but you gave some of us doubts. And if a person does wrong, and you have a fear of telling that person you are wrong, then, Boima, you're not helping. Who crafted the policy of harmonization? Was it not Tuer? Who took the road fund to pay salary? Was it not Tuer? We can go on and on and on. How is it that it goes beyond him? Last but not the least, my friend, you serve as a finance minister. Me, I was just there to talk. Let me put it that way. But I cannot be fooled into believing that the law says the legislature makes appropriation. But who does the national draft budget? Who does it? Is that not 12? My friend, the Bible you preach to us tonight, I'm referencing you to Psalm 23, verse 4. I am referencing you again to Isaiah 41, 8 to 10. You must not fear. You must be brave. 12 cannot do anything to you. If you are afraid, come and hide behind me. I will handle 12 for you. I respectfully submit.
On that note, we want to say thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.
Let you be the judge.
Minister Fagon, I just want to I received a couple of calls on Monday.
Say that.
I received a couple of calls on Monday. People were asking me what's going on the show as the show started, and I was like, which show are you talking about? They said, but Fagon's supposed to start a show today.
The people love me.
My man, Aaron, it's late. We passed that. Don't really matter to plenty. It's late, Aaron.
Somebody say, you got to put some money in dressing. You see how Stanton can be sharp? They call the person Liberian something. Go on the feet. I want to tell that person, if you look outside here, a core, a rini. Secondly, the money where Stanton get and see me with some. I dress to be warm. Then you go say, Stanton sharp. I will deal with you tomorrow, 11 o'clock.
Bye. Aaron, thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, so folks, thanks for following the show tonight. Tomorrow, another edition of the program returns. However, join us tomorrow when the reliable sources will make its maiden edition at 3 p.m. across the Spoon Network. My name is Aaron Kuban, and I've been here. Thanks to Damo who started up on this entire presentation. Bye-bye.
Tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you